Chapter 796. Seeing the demonic dragon, the fury in Dark's eyes almost shot out. The blood-red light on his body flickered like waves, and his perfect dragon scales opened and closed. He spat out blood-red dragon mist. He was enraged. He was like a bull that saw a red cloth. The power in his body exploded wildly. Bald Loach, I'll bite you to death. Nether's body shook, and he transformed into a 10,000-meter-long blood dragon. He roared as he opened his bloody mouth and was about to bite down on the devil dragon. Roar. The demonic dragon, who was sleeping in the demonic pool, seemed to sense danger. His closed dragon eyes opened instantly. When he saw Dark charging towards him, he roared angrily. The broken dragon wings on his back flapped, and his huge dragon body soared into the sky from the demonic pool. He roared angrily, "Who are you?" "Your ancestor." Dark was very smart. When he saw the demonic dragon's appearance, he immediately knew that it must have been severely injured and had yet to recover. Moreover, the appearance of the demonic book was also very damaged. It could be seen that it had been through a fierce battle, which was why its body was so severely damaged. Even its weapon soul was severely injured. Kill it while it's weak. How could Dark, who had experienced so much since ancient times, not know this logic? Immediately, a cruel expression appeared on his face. The demonic dragon in front of him definitely had the strength of an ancient giant. However, Dark had grown up with Sakra, and he had also recovered the powerful fighting strength of an ancient heavenly demon. Crack! The blood-red dragon claw landed on the demonic dragon's dragon wing, and a terrifying hole was torn open on the left wing. Roar! The demonic dragon was furious. He opened his mouth and bit at Dark. From the beginning of the battle, it entered an extremely bloody state. They were entangled with each other in the most primitive and bloody way. They used their claws and teeth to tear at each other. Every piece of flesh that was torn off would turn into the purest soul power and be absorbed by the other party. This was the devouring and killing between weapon souls. There was only one result when they fought each other. It was either they would be devoured and merged, or they would be devoured and merged. There was no other result. In the end, only one of them would be left. As for Underworld, he was as vigorous as a dragon and ferocious as a tiger. His battle prowess was unparalleled. The devil dragon had already been severely injured. As soon as they began to fight, they began to devour each other. Underworld held the main advantage. Large chunks of flesh were devoured by Nether. At this moment, outside Sky Pillar City, the earth rumbled violently. The various armies exited the city one after another. Outside the city, they lined up in neat formations. Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, White Tiger, and Heaven's Punishment Army's Heaven Battalion, no less than 2 million demon soldiers stared coldly in front of them. In front of them, a large number of ancient trees were pushed down. A large group of demonic gods that gave off terrifying battle intent and demonic chi coldly approached, and the demonic god phalanxes continued to advance. Roar! In front of the demon god, hundreds of millions of demonic beasts were charging in from all directions. These demonic beasts came from many different races. However, in an instant, they formed a beast tide and surged towards Sky Pillar City like a tidal wave. Anything that stood in their way was turned into dust on the spot. An aura that could topple mountains and overturn seas came crashing down in an instant. Prepare the demon-piercing crossbows. Fire! Whoosh whoosh whoosh! Huge battle arrows streaked across the sky from the heavenly pillar city and rapidly pierced through the beast tide that was charging towards them. The terrifying demonic crossbows pierced through the demonic beasts that were charging in front of them. Large amounts of demonic blood splattered in the void. His Majesty is fighting with the demon gods in the Sky Demon mystic realm. We cannot tarnish His Majesty's reputation. Brothers, do you have the guts to follow me to death? Kaihua spat out coldly. His words were filled with the determination to die. The beast tide in front of them was 100 times larger than the one in the Bayou tribe. Its destructive power was simply unstoppable. Moreover, there were demon gods following behind them. It required a lot of courage to stand in front of them. Kill, kill, kill. The various armies advanced instead of retreating. They spat out 3 words consecutively, expressing the choice in their hearts. All right. Azure Dragon Battle Formation, rise. The 4 armies did not hesitate and got into formation. With a ferocious determination to die, they instantly formed the Azure Dragon real body and the 4 great mythical beast battle bodies. Azure Dragon Claws. The gigantic Azure Dragon that was 10,000 feet long was comparable to an ancient heavenly demon. It unleashed its full power in an instant. A gigantic dragon claw descended from the clouds and smashed into the beast tide. Rumble. Within a radius of 10,000 feet, hundreds of thousands of demonic beasts were torn into countless pieces. Kill. Crack. At this moment, in the void, a huge demonic dragon broke through the void. On the demonic dragon, the 7 malevolent demon master, who was tens of thousands of feet tall, was filled with a murderous aura. The 3-pointed, double-edged sabers in his hands instantly broke through the void and slashed down on the dragon claw of the Azure Dragon. With a terrifying sound, the dragon claw was cut off on the spot. Kill. 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 After the dragon claw was cut off, the huge dragon claw instantly glowed with divine light and completely dispersed into thousands of demon soldiers. Almost at the same time, they were severely injured and horrifying cracks appeared on their bodies. They seemed to be on their last breaths. However, their faces were cold and there was a hint of madness in their eyes. At the moment when they fell towards the beast tide, terrifying fluctuations erupted from their bodies. Boom, boom, boom. Among the terrifying explosions, the demon soldiers did not hesitate to self-destruct. The destructive power that erupted instantly engulfed a large number of demonic beasts and tore them into pieces. The self-destruction killed hundreds of millions of demonic beasts on the spot. Kill. When the 7 malevolent demon master attacked again, a huge black tortoise stood in front of the saber and its huge tortoise shell forcefully blocked the sharpness of the saber. From the very beginning of the battle, it had already entered an extremely bloody and cruel state. A terrifying murderous aura filled the air continuously. Tragic. Has Demonic City really gone mad this time? They actually sent out such a huge demonic beast army and a large number of demon gods behind them. Do they really intend to wipe out Heavenly Pillar City in one fell swoop? The boy of many treasures stood on the back of the red-crowned crane and looked at the battle outside the city that had completely entered a white-hot state. He could not help but frown deeply and said in surprise, however, the demon soldiers under the demon emperor are really terrifying. Each of them is so unyielding. They actually all died by self-destruction. Even in death, they tried their best to drag a large number of demonic beasts down with them. Lunatics. They are all F*King lunatics. Why do I feel like I am in an ancient battlefield from the ancient times? Lunatics, just like in the ancient times. These demon clans are all F*King lunatics. Once they start killing, they don't even care about their lives. In his heart, he was extremely shocked. It was as if he had returned to the ancient times. Valiant, too valiant. Looking at the battle outside, even he was shocked. What a demon emperor. The god of death's eyes shone with a strange color. However, I'm afraid that the heavenly demon mystic realm will determine the outcome of this war. It actually pulled the demon emperor into the sky demon secret realm. It seems that there must be some terrifying killing move in the secret realm that can deal with him. The foundation of Shanghai is indeed extraordinary. Looking up at the sky demon in the air, Li Qingshan thought. He thought in his heart. In the demon city, Zhua rushed into the jade pool from outside and quickly found Chen Shi, who was recuperating. Chen Shi was in a pavilion, admiring the lotus in the pool. His every move was naturally graceful and luxurious. Sister, it's not good. Zhua had not arrived yet, but she had already shouted loudly. When Chen Shi saw this, he shook his head slightly and said with a trace of doting, Zhua, didn't I tell you long ago that you must not panic when you are in trouble? Panic will never help you solve any problems. Only by always maintaining a calm heart can you find a ray of hope even in a hopeless situation. Why don't you understand? As the demon empress, there was an indescribable calmness and wisdom in her. She took care of the entire demon city in an orderly manner. Sister, this is a big matter. Zhua cried out in alarm. Just now, a large number of demon soldiers that entered the exiled land have returned. All of them died in the exiled land. I just asked. Brother-in-law is currently fighting with the demon gods of the demon god continent. It's a bitter battle. What? Chen Shi's heart was instantly stirred up. His brows were tightly knitted together. I didn't expect Shanghai to make such a big move. After a pause, he said, Zhu, don't worry. With your brother-in-law's ability, Shanghai may not be able to do anything to him. There's no need to be too anxious. Although she said that, deep worry emerged in her heart. She thought to herself, it's a pity that I'm pregnant now and can't get away. Otherwise, I must stay with Shitian no matter what and share the joys and sorrows together. Clang. In the Sky Demon's secret realm, the bell of heaven's reincarnation instantly exploded with supreme power. As the bell rang, the domineering heaven's reincarnation sound spread violently in all directions. The void distorted violently, and then it collapsed and completely collapsed. Vaguely, countless worlds were annihilated and reborn in the sound waves. The endless reincarnation cycle formed a strange reincarnation vortex. If it was sucked in, it would be crushed into powder. Circle after circle, it rippled out continuously. It formed a terrifying reincarnation area. The demon sword with the judgment will slashed over instantly. When it slashed into the reincarnation area, its sharp edge instantly cut in. However, it was as if it had entered a swamp. Almost every inch it advanced required a large amount of energy. The terrifying reincarnation power was frantically eliminating the judgment will contained in the demon sword. However, the demon sword was truly terrifying. Although it was stopped by the sound waves, it slashed down heavily and collided violently with the ancient bell. Dong. The void where the ancient bell and the demon sword collided collapsed on the spot. It instantly turned into powder. This slash caused the ancient bell to shake violently. Countless starlight flickered on the surface of the ancient bell, and the light on the ancient bell flickered. The bell rang continuously. It broke the demon sword, but the ancient bell also dimmed a lot. Lunatic DI, I've already eaten that loach and controlled the sky demon. Let's attack together and kill this demon god. Suddenly, Ming's excited voice sounded in his ears. Di Shitian's eyes lit up. His aura surged as he shouted coldly, Chia, I'll send you a bell. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 797. Di Shitian roared, and the bell of heaven's samsara above his head expanded rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it became 10,000 feet large. An ancient aura was emitted from the bell, and it was as if the time and space in the surrounding void had stopped moving at the same time. The vast samsara concept of the heavens radiated outwards. Vaguely, a mysterious pitch-black wheel appeared around the bell. Countless sounds of samsara were emitted from the wheel. Although it was incomparably illusory, as it spun, it was as if it wanted to bring the entire world into samsara. Although it was illusory, it contained boundless power. Faintly, the wheel of samsara that was condensed around the ancient bell cracked open 6 pitch-black black holes. In those black holes, countless worlds were being annihilated and reincarnated. Countless living beings were being sucked in, and in every passage, there was a strange sound of samsara reverberating. Faintly, there was an indescribable power that wanted to pull one's soul in completely. The surrounding vital energy of heaven and earth was crazily sucked in like a tide. Wheel of Samsara, 6 paths of Samsara. The 7 Knights Demon Venerable's demonic eyes suddenly widened, and his face was filled with astonishment. However, he recovered in the blink of an eye and said coldly, "It's a pity that your natal spiritual treasure is only a middle-grade innate spiritual treasure. Samsara? It's just an illusion. Watch my fallen demon sword break your samsara." The fallen demon sword was an innate sky demon treasure that was fused with an innate spiritual embryo. Its quality had been raised to a high-grade innate sky demon treasure for thousands of years, and it contained the true essence of depravity. If one was injured by the fallen demon sword, The invasion of the fallen demon chi in the fallen demon sword was enough to make a god degenerate into a demon god. Fallen eternal life. Looking at the figure of the ancient bell that gave birth to the 6 paths of reincarnation, that domineering ancient bell seemed like it was going to engulf the entire heavens and earth in the cycle of reincarnation. All the forces around the ancient bell would be devoured by the cycle of reincarnation. However, the 7 Knights demon sovereign was after all a terrifying demon god at the peak of the heavenly demon realm. He was not afraid at all. The fallen demon sword in his hand swung out in a strange trajectory. A fallen demon god appeared in the sword. Demonic sounds reverberated, luring people into the demon Tao. Wherever the demonic sword passed, the void was sliced open with a sharp edge. It slammed heavily on the illusory 6 paths of reincarnation outside the ancient bell. The 6 paths of reincarnation revolved and the terrifying reincarnation passageway emitted an intense reincarnation power. It wrapped around the demon sword and clashed fiercely with the fallen will on the demon sword. Boom, boom, boom. However, the fallen demon sword was a high-grade sky demon treasure. As it was swung, demonic energy filled the air, bringing with it a terrifying power. Even though the 6 paths of reincarnation were extremely mysterious, they were only able to resist the fallen demon sword for a moment. Then, with a series of explosions, the paths of reincarnation collapsed and the fallen demon sword and the ancient bell violently collided. Suddenly, between Sakra and 7 Knights demon venerable, the entire space within a radius of 10,000 feet started to distort and collapse at a speed visible to the naked eye. Clang. The ancient bell continued to ring. The sound waves collided with the demonic swords, knocking them away. Now's the time. Dark took control of the Sky Demon and instantly occupied the position of the Sky Demon Artifact Soul. With the ability of the Dark Book Artifact Soul, it completely controlled the entire Sky Demon Mystic Realm in an instant. In the Mystic Realm, it seemed to have completely transformed into an omnipotent supreme god. Suddenly, a blood dragon body appeared in the void, exuding a majestic dragon aura. It screamed, "Heaven and Earth Cage. Trap this demon brat for this dragon. Lunatic DI, quick, do it. Boom, boom, boom." As soon as Dark's voice fell, the entire Sky Demon Mystic Realm was filled with demonic energy. The Heaven and Earth Yuan Chi fluctuated violently, and a vast power suddenly poured down, crushing toward the 7 Knights demon Exalt. The entire void was completely locked down in an instant, like a terrifying cage. Heaven and earth as a cage. In the cage, the space was locked down, as if a terrifying immobilization divine power had been cast on it. The entire world was repelling it. It could not absorb the Heaven and Earth Yuan Chi at all. His entire body was unable to move even an inch. Oh no, damn it. What are you? How dare you possess the Sky Demon Artifact Soul? I must tear you into pieces. The 7 Knights demon venerable was enraged. He could almost feel that the entire world around him was crushing down on him. His entire demonic body was under a terrifying confinement. Bullsh*T. What Bullsh*T Heavenly Demon Book? This is your ancestors' book of the underworld. Lunatic DI, I've trapped him. Hurry up and beat him up. Underworld bellowed in rage. Well done. Di Shitian's heart was as cold as steel. His cultivation base was almost all obtained from killing along the way, and he had rich combat experience. In an instant, he saw an opportunity. Extreme Emperor Seal, Celestial Demon Seal, Doutai Seal, Blissful Seal, Emperor Seal. 4 ancient seals instantly formed. Rumble. Once the ancient seals formed, they did not stop at all and appeared above the 7 Knights demon Exalt's head. The ancient seals shook slightly, and in the blink of an eye, they grew to thousands of feet in size and smashed down on the 7 Knights demon Exalt's head with terrifying power. When the ancient seals landed, it was as if they wanted to turn the world upside down and crush it into dust. Wherever they passed, the void was shattered. Smash, smash, smash. The ancient seals carried a fierce killing intent. They wanted to smash the 7 Knights demon Exalt to death. Every ancient seal contained a vast and mighty power that even the ancient giants feared. The ancient seals were as fast as lightning, and they appeared above the 7 Knights Demon Exalt's head the moment he was imprisoned. The 7 Knights Demon Exalt's eyes were filled with ferocity. He activated his demonic technique, and his body emitted traces of demonic light. Bang! 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 The 4 ancient seals were extremely domineering, and they landed solidly on the 7 Knights Demon Exalt's head. The 7 Knights Demon Exalt's head was terrifyingly hard, and one of the blissful seals was shattered. However, the most domineering Emperor seal instantly broke through the top of his head. A terrifying power erupted, and countless divine lights flickered crazily. With a crack, the 7 Knights Demon Exalt's head was smashed into pieces. Di Shitian, you deserve to die. Do you think you can kill this Demon Exalt like this? What a joke. This Demon Exalt has lived since the ancient times, so how can I die in the hands of a little demon like you? Do you think you can imprison this Demon Exalt with just the Sky Demon? This Demon Exalt will definitely capture all of you, extract your souls, and imprison them in the 9 underworlds. I will also plant a demonic seed in your demonic body to make you loyal to my demon god continent. I will make you wish you were dead. Today, I will let you know what it means to be 1 foot tall while the devil is 10 feet tall. Crack. The 7 Knights Demon Exalt suddenly emitted a terrifying demonic light, and his fallen demonic aura turned into a dense demonic fog that enveloped his entire body. From the looks of it, his entire head and half of his body had been smashed into fine powder. Demonic blood splattered everywhere, and even his internal organs could be seen clearly. However, he was still a terrifying demon god at the peak of the Sky Demon. One could see that his destroyed body was rapidly regenerating at a speed visible to the naked eye. After cultivating an immortal body, even if his entire body was smashed into fine powder, he could still regenerate his body from the void, let alone his head. It was extremely difficult to kill him. Rumble. At this moment, the void above the 7 Knights Demon Exalt's head began to distort strangely. Amidst the distortion, countless pitch-black demonic fog spewed out of thin air. Within the demonic fog, a pitch-black, ancient, and vast demonic gate suddenly appeared out of thin air. This demonic gate seemed to be the origin of all demons. Countless demonic chants reverberated violently. Demon. 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 Those who believe in the demonic path will have eternal life. The demonic path will prosper forever and never be destroyed. Those who join the demonic path will have eternal life. Countless demonic chants entered one's ears with a terrifying demonic power. Under the demonic chants, even Di Shitian could feel his entire mind trembling. He actually had the faint thought of joining the demonic path. However, as soon as this thought appeared, it was instantly cut off by the 7 sins demonic zither. So powerful. What is this? Di Shitian could not help but be shocked. The moment this demonic gate appeared, a vast and mighty aura was emitted from the demonic gate like a tidal wave. The demonic gate was tightly shut. Countless strange demonic runes densely covered every inch of space, condensing into ferocious demon gods. These demon gods were all different, and there were a total of 3,000 of them. Every single one of them naturally exuded a completely different and terrifying demonic aura. It was as if they contained the great Tao of 3,000 demon gods. It was as if this demonic gate was the origin of all demons between heaven and earth. It contained endless demonic path. It naturally emitted a supreme aura that suppressed heaven and earth. The void around the demonic gate was being destroyed inch by inch and constantly crumbling. It was exceptionally terrifying. Ancient demonic gate. This terrifying sky demon treasure that the demon god continent had planned for countless years to refine showed an incredible and vast demonic aura as soon as it appeared. What a terrifying demonic gate. The aura emitted by this demonic gate made Di Shitian feel as if he had seen the door of myriad tribulations in the myriad tribulations cave abode. However, it was only slightly inferior to the door of myriad tribulations. The ancient demonic gate seemed to have existed since ancient times. Not good, lunatic Di. This demonic gate is a top-grade first sky demon treasure. It has already derived 4 first sky demon seals. If such a demonic treasure is used, it can even create a hole in the land of exile. With a casual shake, It could instantly crush a greater 1,000 world into dust. Quick, quick, do it. We must not let it completely erupt. Otherwise, Heaven Pillar City will be crushed in an instant. Heaven and Earth Cage, imprison me. Ming's expression changed drastically, and he let out a terrified roar. Rumble. Ming instantly activated the power in the Sky Demon's secret realm. Instantly, countless pitch-black demonic aura rapidly condensed like a tide and turned into pitch-black demonic chains that danced wildly in the void like spiritual snakes. They crossed the void and bound the ancient demonic gate, trying to suppress it. Buzz. Crack. However, the moment the metal chains wrapped around the Eternal Demon Gate, the Eternal Demon Gate shuddered as though it was being provoked. Instantly, the metal chains crumbled apart at a speed visible to the naked eye. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidyen.com to read more chapters. Support the author and support the original reading. Chapter 798. It's useless. Even the gods have to bow before the ancient demon gate. Even if you control the Sky Demon, the Sky Demon is just a superior demon treasure. Furthermore, it's a broken demon treasure. How can a small pond be able to restrain a hidden dragon? A cold laugh could be heard from the sky. The 7 Knights Demon Elder, who had half of his body destroyed, had completely recovered. His face was cold and pale as he looked at Di Shitian with a cold smile. The ancient demon gate stood above him like an unparalleled demon god that controlled the demon Tao. Indistinctly, there was a trace of anger. It's not up to you to decide whether it can restrain me or not. Di Shitian's heart was ice cold. The moment he caught sight of the ancient demon gate, he was on high alert. However, the thought of escaping had never crossed his mind. Escape? Where could he escape to? If he wanted to escape, given his strength, he could definitely tear apart the void with his bare hands and break free from the shackles of the banished land to return to the myriad worlds. However, he was afraid that the entire Sky Pillar City would be destroyed in an instant. Sky Pillar City was his foundation in the exiled land. It was the place that the demon race relied on the most. If it was destroyed, it would be many times more difficult for the demon race to soar. This was the foundation of the demon race. How could he give it up so easily? Furthermore, retreating in the face of an expert was not in Di Shitian's character. Ancient Demon Gate? So what if it's the Ancient Demon Gate? So what if it's the ancient Sky Demon treasure? I, Di Shitian, fought against the heavens and the earth. When I was a great demon, I dared to fight against an ancient giant. Even if the heavens fell and the earth cracked, I, Di Shitian, had never taken a step back. Fight, fight, fight. No matter how strong the enemy is, I will bite off a piece of flesh from his body. Boom, boom. Sakra's demonic body shook, and the 5 undying divine rings around his body were derived from his flesh and blood, bursting forth with dazzling divine splendor. A beam of purple-gold-colored glaze divine light directly soared into the sky, just like a supreme god. Heavenly punishment divine eyes. Indra stood in the air. Between his brows, that violet divine imprint rapidly opened up. Instantly, one could only see his divine eyes opening. The moment his divine eyes opened, a boundless pressure gushed out in all directions like a tidal wave. Everywhere it passed, even the void faintly showed signs of completely collapsing. Heavenly punishment divine eye annihilation. Whoosh. A beam of purple-gold divine light shot out from the divine eye. The divine light seemed to be real and carried a terrifying will that could annihilate all things. Wherever it passed, the space was silently annihilated inch by inch, turning into dust in an instant. This was an extremely destructive superpower. It contained the most domineering power. Crossing the boundaries of the void, it instantly blasted towards the Eternal Demon Gate. So what if it was the Eternal Demon Gate? If they stood in his way, he could only fight. Rumble. The divine eye of heavenly punishment was so domineering. Legend had it that it was the unique innate ability of the Heavenly Punishment clan, the #1 clan of the 100 clans. The annihilation divine light was born in place of destruction. It had the most terrifying destructive power. The power of the 3 innate divine seals born from the divine eye was not inferior to any innate spiritual treasure. Under the activation of Di Shitian's ancient sky demon's vast true power, it instantly exploded with unprecedented power. It blasted on the demon gate. Instantly, the eternal demon gate that stood in midair seemed to have suffered a terrifying impact. The entire demon gate shook violently. On the vast demon gate, the light from the demonic inscription started to flicker. The rift nearby began to crumble. It seemed that even the eternal demon gate was about to be pierced through by the annihilation divine light. Buzz. However, the eternal demon gate was after all a top-notch treasure of the sky demon. The originally tightly shut demon gate suddenly opened, and a pitch-black crack appeared. In the demon gate, there was not a single ray of light. There was only endless darkness, as if it was going to devour everything. A terrifying darkness seeped out from the demon gate. The annihilation divine light pierced through. However, the pitch-black darkness in the demon gate was like a terrifying abyss, an endless black hole. The moment the divine light that was filled with destructive power rushed into the demon gate, the demonic chi in the demon gate rolled strangely and swallowed the divine light without making any sound. It was extremely eerie. The eternal demon gate has existed since the beginning of time. Although your divine skill is powerful, how could it possibly damage the eternal demon gate, a top-notch treasure of the sky demon? It is only a step away from becoming an innate spiritual treasure. Whatever mystic skills you have, feel free to unleash them. Later on, your Lord is going to implant the holy devil bell that was born from the eternal demon gate into your body. I will make you a complete puppet. The 7 Knights demon reverend looked coldly at the Sacra. His gaze was as though he was looking at a corpse. Divine eye of punishment, 5-colored divine light. Sacra didn't even think about it. His mind wasn't shaken at all. Divine light shot out from his divine eyes again. When the divine light appeared, it divided into 5 elements and turned into 5 divine feathers. They fanned out and brushed towards the ancient demon gate. Wherever the divine feathers passed, everything was brushed into the divine light. 5-colored divine light. No wonder your fighting strength is so heaven-defying. You can even use the 5-colored divine light. However, the eternal demon gate is not something that you can touch. Break. The 5-colored divine light brushed against everything. However, when it brushed against the eternal demon gate, the demonic light on the demon gate shone brightly. It shook violently and released a terrifying force. The entire ray of divine light dissipated on the spot. It was as if Chi Yi was looking at an ant that was about to fall. He sneered. Swoosh. However, at the moment when the 5-colored divine light dissipated, a ray of purple-gold divine light shone on Chi Yi. Hey! Oh no, what is this? Karmic fire, red lotus karmic fire. How dare you trigger my karmic fire? Chi Yi, who was originally cold, suddenly changed his expression. Under the illumination of the divine light, a huge karma mirror suddenly appeared in his mind. In the yin-yang mirror, his life's experiences quickly flashed through the mirror like flowing water. Karma gushed out from his body and turned into blood-red red lotus karmic fire. It enveloped his entire body in the karmic fire. In his eyes, there was an unbearable and terrifying pain. The red lotus karmic fire burned the spiritual soul and the body. It was shapeless and intangible. Once it was ignited, it was almost impossible to extinguish it. As long as one was still in one's destiny and had not completely severed one's karma, the karmic fire of the red lotus karmic fire would be burned to ashes. It was one of the most terrifying flames in the world. The deeper one's karmic fire was, the more intense the red lotus karmic fire would be. Monster King, what a terrifying Monster King. How can he control the red lotus karmic fire? The 7 Knights demon master roared in his heart. Without hesitation, he shouted, Ancient demon gate, protect me. Red lotus, retreat. Boom. The eternal devil gate trembled violently as an intense devouring force gushed out from it. The karmic fire of the red lotus on Chi Yi's body seemed to have been struck by an inconceivable force as it flew up into the air. In the blink of an eye, the karmic fire of the Red Lotus was devoured by the eternal Devil Gate, vanishing from sight. Oh no, lunatic Di, this eternal demon gate is too overbearing and strange. This demon treasure is too powerful. It can even devour the Red Lotus karmic fire. With the 7 Knights demon master controlling it, he can almost fight against an unparalleled expert. I'll send you out of the Sky Demon secret realm first. I'll use the power of the Sky Demon strategy to restrain it temporarily. A crazed look appeared in Dark's eyes. Crack. He swung his claws at Di Shitian and tore a crack behind him. He sent Di Shitian out of the Sky Demon secret realm. Sky Demon strategy, Sky Demon purgatory, imprisonment demon gate. The entire Sky Demon secret realm turned into a terrifying Sky Demon purgatory. In the purgatory, countless terrifying disasters flashed and swept towards the 7 Knights demon master like a tidal wave. Crack. In the sky above Sky Pillar City, a huge crack appeared out of nowhere. Di Shitian's figure emerged from the crack. Look, it's the Demon King. The Demon King has come out. He came out of the Sky Demon secret realm. Could it be that he has already killed the experts of the demonic capital? I don't think I'm wrong. With his heaven-defying combat strength, I'm afraid no one in the exiled lands is a match for him. The demonic capital is just asking for trouble. This is great. With the Demon King out, the demonic capital army outside will be like chickens and dogs. He will be able to defeat them easily. The Demon King's combat strength is indeed heaven-defying. Some of the cultivators in Sky Pillar City began to discuss excitedly when they saw Di Shitian suddenly appear. However, Death God and Treasure Boy frowned at the same time. They saw an indescribable seriousness on Di Shitian's face. This was not the expression that a victorious person should have. Something's wrong. The same thought flashed through their minds at the same time. Di Shitian stepped on the huge Sky Demon strategy and stood in mid-air. His expression was cold. Suddenly, he raised his head and looked at the void. In his eyes, there was a trace of tenacity. Open! He let out a loud shout. His demonic body expanded violently and reached a height of 6,000 feet. 5 indestructible divine rings circled around his body. His body exuded a natural aura of supremacy. Suddenly, his hands stretched out in front of him. His hands instantly turned into claws, and with this wave, he directly pierced his hands into the void of nothingness. His hands pulled apart at the same time. Crack. In the void of the exiled lands, a seemingly solid crack was torn open by his bare hands. Hiss. My goodness, tearing open the void with his bare hands. This is the exiled lands. Ordinary ancient powerhouses can't even tear open the void. Could it be that the Demon King wants to leave this place? Could it be that today is the day to leave the exiled lands? What's going on? For a moment, countless cultivators opened their mouths wide and looked at the scene in the void in surprise. It seemed that they could not understand the meaning behind Di Shitian's actions. Even Death God and Treasure Boy did not understand. They were puzzled. This was not the day to leave the exiled lands. Demon City, by my command, descend to the exiled land. With a dignified expression, Di Shitian issued a grand order towards the crack that was torn open. Through the torn rift, his mind instantly connected with the Demon City in the endless void. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chidian.com and read more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 799. In the endless void, there were innumerable space faults. Countless space faults gathered together to form the endless void. From those faults, chaotic space energy would spurt out almost all the time, forming large tracts of space fragments, which were incomparably chaotic and full of destructive power. No one knew how many sharp space blades there were in the void. There were also countless spatial traps. They could be banished to some unknown space at any time and could not escape even after millions of years. For cultivators below the Immortal Lord level, this place was the most terrifying purgatory. Out of 10 cultivators who entered, It would be difficult for even one of them to escape. More importantly, the space here was constantly changing and being born, and it was full of countless possibilities. In this place, it was even more difficult to find a certain existence. At this moment, in the depths of the endless void, among the countless terrifying spatial faults, a huge ancient city was constantly shuttling. Every time it entered a spatial fault, the ancient city would emit a strong suction force, constantly sucking in a large amount of heaven and earth yuan qi into the ancient city, turning it into energy to continue shuttling through the endless void. It was extremely fast, and there was no sign of stopping. In the ancient city, billions of demons were working hard to absorb the rich heaven and earth yuan qi in the city. Their bodies emitted waves of energy, and each of them was constantly growing stronger, seizing every moment to become stronger. The all-demons returned to their roots plan gathered almost half of the scattered demons in the myriad worlds in Demon City. Under Old Fox's deliberate propaganda, every demon was filled with a strong sense of danger. After entering the Demon City, the importance they received, the dignity they had, and the pride they should have as members of the demon clan continued to grow. They thought of the difficult life they had experienced in the myriad worlds back then. They were constantly hunted down by cultivators. They were worse than beasts without intelligence. Every time they thought of their relatives and friends dying tragically, their cores being dug out and their skins being skinned. The hatred and anger towards the cultivators of the myriad worlds turned into motivation for cultivation. Demon Emperor Di Shitian, who saved them and gave them dignity, and Demon City, they felt a strong sense of belonging back then. Fight for our dignity. Fight for the Demon Emperor. Fight for Demon City. Fight for the rise of the entire demon race. These beliefs were deeply ingrained in the minds of almost every demon. They would not waver even if they were to die 10,000 times. In myriad Demon City, even if they ran into the lofty all heavens cultivators, not only would they not dare to kill them, but they would also have to treat them with caution. He didn't dare to do any harm. This was a scene that the demons could never have imagined in the past. This point alone was enough to make all the monsters swear that even if they were to die, they would protect everything before them. Therefore, there was no need for supervision at all. The demons worked hard and made use of every bit of time to cultivate. The entire demon city was shrouded in a tense atmosphere. Due to the city being sealed, there were still tens of millions of cultivators in the city who were unable to leave. Most of them were cultivating in the inns, chatting with one another in the restaurants, or refining all kinds of pills, artifacts, and so on to exchange for demon coins. This was considered normal. He appeared to be somewhat unperturbed. And at this moment, the ancient city that had been rapidly moving through the endless void suddenly came to a halt. It had actually stopped at a spatial fault. In the sky above the ancient city, countless bolts of lightning flashed wildly. A majestic imperial edict suddenly resounded throughout Myriad Demon City. Myriad Demon City, by my command, descend upon the land of exile. The voice instantly enveloped the entire Myriad Demon City. Clatter. In the restaurants, white jade wine cups fell to the ground one after another. Countless all heavens cultivators trapped in the city were somewhat stunned. The Demon Emperor's edict. The Demon Emperor really isn't dead. Is he summoning the Myriad Demon City to where he is? The land of exile? Oh my God, is he actually in the land of exile? How is this possible? How could he possibly break through the heaven barrier of the land of exile? He can actually forcefully summon the Myriad Demon City. My goodness, just how heaven-defying is the Demon Emperor's combat strength now? Many cultivators were so shocked that their jaws dropped. Their expressions were filled with disbelief. In the Jade Pool. Ding dong. Originally, when she heard that the demons who had been summoned to the land of exile had been killed one after another through the connection between the blood altar and the Demon Emperor, although she appeared calm on the surface and did not panic at all, how could she not be worried in her heart? She was the kind of woman who would completely give her heart to a man once she was moved. After sending the other maids away, she entered the pavilion alone and took out her zither. She was about to play the zither and place her heart in the zither. She did not expect to hear Di Shitian's edict at this moment. Shitian. The worry on Chen Shi's face was swept away, and a kind of light appeared on her face. She looked up into the void and muttered to herself, "You finally did it. As your wife, I am honored." She unconsciously reached out and gently stroked her abdomen. Her eyes were filled with the light of motherly love as she said, "My child, the time has come for you to be born. The first thing you will see is father and mother. Someone, come." A muffled groan came from her mouth. Immediately, a maid rushed over. "Quick, quick, quick. The Empress is about to give birth. Quickly go and find the best midwife. Quickly help the Empress back to her chambers. Quickly find Lord Qingxia and immediately set up a defense around the Jade Pool. Raise the alert. The Demon Empress is about to give birth." In an instant, the entire Jade Pool was in complete chaos. Countless palace maids ran back and forth, and sword attendant Qing Luan placed the entire Jade Pool under martial law in the shortest time possible. The guards were so tight that even a mosquito would not be able to fly in. This great news spread quickly, and countless demons could not help but cheer loudly in joy. They had just heard the Demon Emperor's voice, and now they had received news that the Demon Empress baby was about to be born. This was a joyous occasion. It was simply a double blessing. The Demon Empress baby was a big deal. Once the baby was born, the foundation that Di Shitian had laid down would be passed down. In an instant, the entire ancient city was filled with boundless joy. Rumble. As soon as Di Shitian's summon fell, suddenly, the 11th grade Black Lotus primordial spirit in the depths of the demon city burst out with a dazzling divine light. It was completely connected to Di Shitian. With a loud boom, it broke through the void and directly traversed the void. Once the void was torn, the connection between Di Shitian and the demon city would be completely unstoppable. In an instant, the demon city had traversed countless spaces. It appeared outside the land of exile. Rumble. Looking up from the Sky Pillar City, one could see Di Shitian stepping on the Sky Demon. His expression was dignified, and his hands tore the void apart, creating a terrifying crack that was at least a few thousand feet long. The crack was filled with terrifying spatial fragments, and countless blades were dancing in it. The blades were so sharp that even if an ancient giant rushed in, he would be instantly turned into dust. Therefore, if a cultivator who had not reached the level of being able to tear the void apart rushed in, he would only be courting death. In the huge crack, an ancient heavenly gate suddenly appeared. On the heavenly gate, mysterious ancient seal shone, Southern Heavenly Gate. Boom, boom, boom. As soon as the Southern Heavenly Gate appeared, it immediately erupted with endless divine light. A vast and mighty force shook violently and directly rushed into the crack, crashing into it. That crack immediately seemed to have been bombarded by thousands of tons of explosives, and it constantly collapsed at a speed visible to the naked eye. The entire void was like a huge piece of glass. Countless shocking cracks spread out. They were densely packed like a spider web. A clear shattering sound was heard. With a loud rumble, a vast ancient city rushed in from the outside. My goodness, what is that? Such a huge ancient city, and it actually rushed in from the outside. Could it be that the Demon King summoned it in? What a terrifying pressure. What kind of ancient city is this? I only took one look at it, and my heart trembled, and I have the illusion that I want to submit to it. I heard from some of the demon clans that the Demon King had built an unparalleled ancient city in the myriad worlds, called the Demon City. Just the city alone could hold more than 80 to 90 billion demon clans. It was vast and boundless, and its power was endless. Could it be that this is it? However, I heard that it hasn't been completed yet. Even if it is summoned in, it will be difficult for it to display its powerful combat prowess. Countless cultivators couldn't help but gasp when they saw the arrival of the ancient city. That was no ordinary shock. However, in the land of exile, the restriction of celestial tools also existed. Only those supreme-level ancient cities with vital chi sources could break free from the restriction and forcibly break through the restriction. For example, large-scale supreme treasures such as ancient cities and immortal islands were classified as Lingyun, peerless, supreme, immortal, and immemorial. Although the Thousand Demon City had a deep foundation and its grade had reached the peak of the supreme grade, he was only a short distance away from becoming a supreme being. However, they lacked a source of vitality. Once they entered the banished land, they would be suppressed by the heavens and earth and fall to the ground. Rumble. After the Thousand Demon City barged into the banished lands in the most barbaric manner, formless laws appeared in the air above the Thousand Demon City. It was as though the entire heavens and earth were about to collapse. Boundless might appeared in the air above the Thousand Demon City. The unstoppable pressure was so great that the Thousand Demon City was about to fall towards Sky Pillar City. Di Shitian's expression was calm. His entire demon body suddenly rose into the air and entered the Thousand Demon City in an instant. His feet were connected to the ancient city, and a boundless might poured into his body from the ancient city. Suddenly, his entire demon body expanded rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, he had expanded to a height of 10,000 feet. The ultimate Imperial Jade Archive has merged with the ancient city and transformed into a source of vitality. It communicates with the myriad of worlds and forms its own heaven and earth. It is the Supreme Being Ascension. Ding ding ding. Above Di Shitian's head, a sparkling and translucent ultimate Imperial Jade Archive suddenly flew out. In the Jade Archive, countless melodious heavenly sounds reverberated continuously. Great Tao talismans constantly shone with the divine radiance of the Great Tao. Countless heavenly sounds reverberated, and countless cultivation methods and secret techniques flashed in the Jade Archive. All around, the boundless vital chi of heaven and earth was absorbed by the Jade Archive like a tide. The Ultimate Emperor's Jade Archive turned into a stream of sparkling light and instantly rushed into the Demon City. To be continued. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com to read more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 800. It's a new week. Please vote for me if you have any votes. In the core of the Demon City, in the deepest part of the origin, it was a vast void. In the void, there was an 11th grade Black Lotus. Below the Black Lotus, there was a huge ancient pool. The pool was already filled with water. The Black Lotus spun in the pool continuously, absorbing the heaven and earth essence chi from the surroundings. It then transformed the heaven and earth essence chi into the ancient pool. In the ancient pool, wisps of heaven and earth essence chi constantly drifted out and entered the Demon City, becoming the city's heaven and earth essence chi. The absorption speed was not fast, but it was not slow either. It was only enough to support the normal operation of the Demon City. At this moment, a huge Jade Archive appeared in the inner world of the Demon City. In the crystal-clear Ultimate Emperor Jade Archive, there was a clear and melodious Great Tao heavenly melody that reverberated. In the entire void, there were countless heavenly flowers and fairies dancing in the air. It was a scene of fairies flying to immortals. Merge. The Ultimate Emperor Jade Archive appeared in the void. Instantly, the 11th grade Black Lotus primordial spirit, which was originally present in the void, flew into the Jade Archive together with the ancient pool. When the two collided, the entire Black Lotus seemed to be illusory and naturally merged with the Jade Archive. On the Jade Archive, there was a lifelike picture of the Black Lotus, as if it was a picture engraved on the Jade Archive. Every frequency and every movement was as if it was real. Ding ding ding. After the Ultimate Emperor Jade Archive swallowed the heaven and earth essence chi from the ancient pool, one by one, crystal-clear elixirs appeared on the Jade Archive. One by one, there was an endless stream of them, like pearls falling into a jade plate. On each elixir, there were mysterious and complex patterns. These were the most peculiar elixir patterns, which would only appear when the elixir reached the highest grade. The elixir patterns seemed to contain the truth of heaven and earth. The moment the Black Lotus primordial spirit merged with the Ultimate Emperor Jade Archive, the Ultimate Emperor Jade Archive and the Demon City seemed to have completely merged together. Invisible threads were constantly connecting with each other. The Jade Archive began to spin in the void. Countless Great Tao heavenly melody reverberated, filling every inch of the void. In the Jade Archive, 1,300 talismans of the Great Path flashed with brilliant divine light. Suddenly, they stirred the void. With a boom, 1,300 vital Chi true dragons with completely different auras rushed in from outside the void. They continuously rushed into the Imperial Jade Archive. As the Jade Archive spun, traces of the Chi of heaven and earth that had been refined by the Jade Archive turned into lotus petals and drifted out into the void. Every petal contained a vast amount of carnate yuan Chi. At the same time, the world of the void of heaven and earth, the primordial earth essence world. Rumble bull, it easily merged with the grade 3 black lotus. At the moment of the fusion, the grade 3 black lotus seemed to have gained a unique charm. A small world strangely appeared within the black lotus. That world was filled with a large amount of highly toxic gas. This little black lotus that appeared in the void was actually a small poisonous world. At the same time, grade 3 lotus platforms of various colors appeared in the void. However, not only were these lotuses of different colors, they were also incomparably illusory, as if they were not real. Just like the 1,300 talismans of the Great Path in the Huangji Jade Archive, there were also 1,300 lotuses that appeared in the void. However, only the poisonous black lotus had a world within it. Everything else was just an illusion. Rumble. In the Thousand Fiend City, the moment the Emperor's Jade Archive completely fused with the ancient city, the entire Thousand Fiend City began to rumble violently. Resplendent divine light surged out like a tide. Amidst the rumbling, the cracks between the divine crystals in the ancient city completely disappeared. They had perfectly fused together, becoming a complete entity. It was as if it was made by nature, without a single flaw. Around the entire ancient city, in the land of exile, vast amounts of innate vital Chi surged into the ancient city like a tide. In an instant, the ancient city seemed to have become an incomparably huge black hole, crazily devouring all the vital Chi. Countless types of power rapidly shuttled through the ancient city's body. Lightning, fire, ice, metal, and many other types of power began to fuse into the ancient city. The divine crystals that formed the ancient city were constantly strengthening and upgrading at a speed visible to the naked eye. Originally, the ancient city was only made of middle-grade divine crystals. At this moment, under the support and tempering of the infinite vital Chi, it was constantly being tempered and rapidly transforming into a high-grade divine crystal. All of a sudden, the entire Thousand Demon City became an independent world. An invisible barrier appeared around the ancient city. In the city, the original acquired vital Chi was rapidly being replaced by innate vital Chi. I've broken through. In an instant, at the moment when the Thousand Fiend City was upgrading, countless innate vital Chi descended from the void and rapidly washed over every living creature in the city. Immediately, many demons who were originally at a bottleneck and were on the verge of a breakthrough broke through to a new realm in an instant. Rumble. In the center of the Thousand Fiend City, a huge platform rose from the ground. On the platform, a simple and unadorned deep well appeared. There was no water in the well, only rich spatial energy. It was a well of demons and gods. Following the well, one could enter any space in the Thousand Fiend City, such as the newly born world of poison. Following the well, one could enter the world of poison and cultivate poison techniques. In the future, any space that was born in the Thousand Fiend City could be accessed through the well of demons and gods. It was a world of its own. Heavens! Xiantian Yuan Qi, the Yuan Qi in the city had transformed into Xiantian Yuan Qi. Xiantian Yuan Qi was something that could only be seen in ancient times. If one were to practice in such an environment, they would be able to advance by leaps and bounds. A supreme artifact, the Thousand Fiend City has really been upgraded to supreme artifact. It's hard for the fiend race not to rise. My cultivation has increased by so much. At least I've saved hundreds of years of cultivation. Sealing the city, it's a good thing that the city is sealed. If it wasn't, how could I have such a great opportunity? The Demon Emperor is really worthy of being the one and only wonder of the fiend race since ancient times. A supreme artifact, he can even make one. It's incredible, really incredible. Di Shitian stepped into the ancient city and felt every change in the Thousand Fiend City. He clearly felt that on every inch of the ancient city, the 1,300 talismans of the Great Path from the Emperor's Jade Archive were constantly intertwining with mysterious Tao patterns and integrating into the city. Slowly, the ancient city began to nurture rules. However, those Tao patterns were still incomplete. Only the Tao pattern derived from the poison talisman was able to display a complete scene. Once the 3,000 talismans of the Great Path from the Emperor's Jade Archive were completely repaired and intertwined into complete Tao patterns, the Thousand Fiend City would be able to upgrade from a supreme artifact to the immortal level. Rumble. Around the Thousand Fiend City, countless fairies appeared out of thin air and danced around the ancient city. Waves of heavenly music reverberated, countless heavenly flowers fell, and endless fragrance spread in all directions. A vast amount of pressure flooded the entire banished land like a tidal wave. It was like a peerless god had descended. In Sky Pillar City, countless cultivators bore the brunt of the pressure and were forced to kneel on the ground as if they were on a pilgrimage. Outside the city, hundreds of millions of demonic beasts were pressed to the ground and couldn't even move. A large number of demon gods seemed to have been immobilized. The 4 divine beasts dispersed in a burst of divine light, and a large number of demon soldiers fell from each army. However, they all looked at the Thousand Fiend City floating in mid-air with a fanatical expression. They were full of joy. Yuan Zhong opened his mouth and laughed. "Haha, His Majesty the Demon Emperor has summoned the Thousand Demon City. That's great. Brothers in the city, quickly bring Shengong out for a walk. There are so many demon gods here." Bai Yu looked around coldly and said, "Let's see who else is unconvinced." His Majesty the Demon Emperor specializes in dealing with all kinds of unconvinced. Buzz. In the Thousand Fiend City, a huge divine light swept down quickly. Immediately, all the cultivators and demons in Sky Pillar City entered the ancient city. In the banished land, the boundless heaven and earth Yuan Qi continued to enter the ancient city and turned into energy. It constantly tempered the city and pushed the Thousand Fiend City to become a supreme divine artifact. Almost at every moment, the aura emitted by the ancient city was changing fundamentally. A vast amount of pressure continued to rise. This kind of metamorphosis was taking place at almost every moment. Shocking changes were taking place. The ancient city had completely formed its own body, as if it was a world that was independent of the origin, the demon gods, and the banished land. The ancient city shook slightly, and the surrounding void was being destroyed inch by inch. That divine light was brighter than the sun. It was simply impossible to hide. Bang! In the face of the eternal demon gate, a mere tattered heavenly demon book is nothing but an illusion. To think that you can trap your demon lord here? What a fool's dream. At this moment, a cold voice boomed out from the heavenly demon book. On the surface of the heavenly devil slip, cracks began to appear rapidly. With a terrifying explosion, a huge hole was blasted open. A blood dragon rushed out crazily. Many dragon scales on his body had fallen off, and his eyes were filled with madness. When he saw the ancient city in midair, he couldn't help but roar, "Lunatic Emperor, that guy is coming out. The ancient demon gate is too scary. I can't stop him at all. Thousand Fiend City, haha, you actually summoned the Thousand Fiend City. Good, good, good. It's even becoming a supreme divine artifact. This is great. Let's see how arrogant Seven Knights is this time." Dark quickly rushed into the Thousand Fiend City and circled around the ancient city, laughing maniacally. Boom! Seven Knights Demon Master, who was 70,000 feet tall, broke through the sky demon stratagem with the ancient demon gate on his head, and stepped into the banished land. "Blood Loach, don't you dare escape." Dark pointed at Seven Knights and roared, "Demon brat, you can't do anything to Ancestor. Ancestor and Lunatic Emperor specialize in curing your disobedience." To be continued. If you want to know the future, please go to www.chidian.com, support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 801. Supreme Artifact. Unparalleled Ancient City. How dare you tear open the void and summon the ancient city here? How dare you upgrade a supreme artifact in the banished land? Aren't you afraid of the world-extinguishing thunder punishment? The Seven Knights demon Venerable's face turned green when he heard Dark's clamor. However, he could see the ancient city floating in the air clearly. The dazzling and vast divine radiance was even more intense than thousands of suns. If it wasn't for the eternal demon gate above his head, he would have been forced back by the pressure. When Xiao Chen looked carefully, he immediately discovered that this was an unparalleled ancient city that was in the process of becoming a prime. He could not help but laugh coldly in his astonishment. World-extinguishing thunder punishment? So what if it's the world-extinguishing thunder punishment? How could it do anything to Demon City? Dark's expression changed slightly, but he didn't back down and continued to taunt. He looked as if he didn't care about Demon City at all. Lunatic DI, be careful of the world-extinguishing thunder punishment. However, he secretly sent a message to Di Shitian. Even if the world-extinguishing thunder punishment comes today, I have to get through it. If Demon City doesn't upgrade to Supreme Artifact, I'm afraid it won't be able to suppress the Eternal Demon Gate. When the Demon Gate opened, I could feel that there was a great terror in it. If it doesn't upgrade to Supreme Artifact, the entire ancient city might be destroyed. Di Shitian was unusually calm. Looking at the appearance of the Seven Knights Demon Master, especially the Eternal Demon Master, his face turned solemn. He could sense a tremendous threat from the Eternal Demon Master. The threat didn't decrease even when Demon City broke through the void. He was sure that the Eternal Demon Gate wasn't simple. The world-extinguishing thunder punishment was a lightning punishment that any supreme artifact, island, or ship would have to undergo when it was upgraded to supreme artifact. One should know that a supreme artifact was comparable to a peerless expert. It was the same as the heavenly punishment that an ancient overlord would face when he or she broke through to become a peerless expert. It was an existence that transcended the heavens and earth and became one with it. The heavens and earth would send down the heavenly punishment. If you could get through it, the heavens and earth would acknowledge you as its equal. If you couldn't, you would be destroyed and everything would return to the heavens and earth. It was a test from the heavens and earth. There was no way to escape. Rumble. Almost in an instant, the increasingly powerful aura of the demon city shook the heavens and the earth. In the sky above the demon city, countless black tribulation clouds gathered from all directions like a tide. In the blink of an eye, the sky was covered, and the sun was completely covered. It was as if night had fallen in the blink of an eye. Countless rainbow-colored lightning bolts shuttled back and forth in the tribulation clouds, drawing out resplendent lightning bolts in the darkness. Crack! The tribulation lightning quickly gathered towards the center from all directions. With a boom, the pitch-black tribulation clouds quickly parted to the sides, and a terrifying giant eye with a radius of tens of thousands of feet opened. The giant eye had 7 colors, and the moment it opened, a terrifying pressure poured down like a flood. The 7-colored giant eye carried a supreme majesty, as if it had replaced the will of the entire world. Inside, it contained the power to destroy the world. Vaguely, as long as the giant eye opened slightly, it could destroy a world on the spot. Bang bang bang! The magical beasts outside Heavenly Pillar City were simply unable to withstand this extremely tyrannical and terrifying pressure. They actually let out rumbling sounds as they were crushed into fine powder on the spot by the invisible pressure. They all exploded, and blood and flesh stained the void red. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of millions of demonic beasts had been crushed. People of Demon City, quickly retreat 100,000 miles. When the 7 Knights Devil Lord saw this, his body flashed as he appeared in front of the devil gods. The ancient devil gate trembled slightly as a vast amount of pressure gushed in and was devoured silently. A large number of demon gods quickly retreated. The world-extinguishing lightning punishment is the most overbearing. I wonder what the source of vitality of this ancient city is. However, even the lightning pool would not be able to withstand the world-extinguishing lightning punishment. If the source of vitality explodes, let's see if it doesn't blow up this group of demons. The 7 Knights Demon Venerable did not rush in. Once he did, The world-extinguishing lightning punishment would not care who he was. It would not be a laughing matter if he was dragged into it. It might even trigger his own lightning tribulation in advance. That would be a huge joke. Lunatic Emperor, this is the world-extinguishing lightning. I don't know if the demon city can withstand it with its strength. This is the demon city's own lightning tribulation. It's best if we don't interfere. If it survives with its own strength, the entire ancient city will benefit greatly. Moreover, many of the buildings in the city will be completely integrated. Dark looked at the rainbow tribulation eye above his head with fear and anticipation. Catcher. The tribulation cloud was dark and oppressive, emitting a terrifying pressure that was almost suffocating. The rainbow divine light in the rainbow tribulation eye rippled continuously. Suddenly, a rainbow divine lightning that was tens of thousands of feet long fell from the tribulation eye. That divine lightning was the most terrifying world-extinguishing lightning in the world. Strangely, wherever the divine lightning passed, it did not cause any damage to the surrounding space. It was as if it was silent. However, in the eyes of a cultivator with good eyesight, it was the most terrifying scene. It meant that the divine lightning had restrained all its power, and not a single bit leaked out. Once it hit the target, it would explode, producing a destructive force that was thousands of times more terrifying. Boom! The demon city seemed to have sensed the arrival of the world-extinguishing lightning, and the entire ancient city shook violently. Countless sparkling and translucent divine light burst out of the ancient city like a huge sun, instantly enveloping the entire ancient city in divine light. The four heavenly gates burst out with an ancient charm. An invisible mighty force instantly protected the surroundings. Although this world-extinguishing lightning punishment is the demon city's tribulation, I may be able to help. Stone of submerged void, stone of prohibition, fuse with the heavenly gate. Di Shitian quickly deduced in his mind. With a flash of light in his hand, a psychic jade box appeared in his hand. He opened the jade box, and the 8 divine stones instantly split into 4 directions, turning into streams of light that rushed toward the 4 heavenly gates. Boom, boom, boom. As soon as the stone of submerged void and the stone of prohibition touched the heavenly gates, they immediately merged perfectly with the heavenly gates. Suddenly, the heavenly gates emitted an ancient charm that became even more mysterious. In addition to the previous sealing stone and immortal stone. Among the 5 divine stones, 4 of them had already fused with the heavenly gates, and the power of the heavenly gates increased greatly. Countless mysterious seal runes intertwined on the gates. Boom, boom, boom. The world-extinguishing lightning bombarded the dense divine light, and it immediately exploded, turning into countless rainbow-colored weapons that were filled with the power of world-extinguishing. Sabers, swords, spears, lances, etc. All kinds of weapons began to erupt with a powerful destructive force. The divine light was cut into pieces, and the overbearing divine lightning smashed down. As the demon city did not have the so-called city walls, only the 4 heavenly gates were protecting it, so in an instant, the countless world-extinguishing lightning weapons bombarded the 4 heavenly gates. The heavenly gates emitted a divine light that dimmed and trembled violently from the bombardment. Countless rainbow-colored lightning streaks rushed toward the ancient city like a tide. Lightning-gathering towers, activate all of them. Di Shitian spat out a sentence. In the demon city, the 1 million lightning-gathering towers that were refined began to operate at full power. Within the lightning-gathering towers, the heavenly lightning platforms erupted with a powerful devouring force, rapidly drawing the countless world-extinguishing lightning streaks that were shrouding the ancient city into the heavenly lightning platforms. However, the grade of the world-extinguishing lightning had reached a terrifying level. The 1 million lightning-gathering towers did not devour much of the calamity lightning. The heavenly lightning platforms within could not withstand the lightning power contained in the calamity lightning, and they exploded under the rainbow-colored lightning streaks. The grade of the heavenly lightning platforms could not restrain the world-extinguishing lightning. Crack! Under the apocalyptic divine thunder, the demon city gave off a terrifying cracking sound. Terrifying cracks appeared on the walls of the city made of divine crystal. They were like spider webs that constantly spread in all directions. It looked terrifying, as if it was going to shatter. Humph! As expected, it can't hold on any longer. The world-extinguishing lightning is not that easy to overcome. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so few supreme divine weapons in the world. The Seven Knights Demon Master's eyes lit up, and he sneered. He seemed to be mocking Di Shitian for overestimating his own strength. Ding! However, at this moment, a clear and melodious sound suddenly rang out from the Thousand Demon City. Accompanying it was a strange heavenly sound of the great Tao. Lightning, the punishment of heaven and earth, the principle of righteousness, intimidated all living beings in the world. There were thousands of types of lightning, and all kinds of vital energy could be transformed into lightning. Righteousness could be transformed into the nine heavens true lightning, while malice could be transformed into malice yin lightning. The heavenly sound was accompanied by a general outline of the lightning Tao, as if the heavenly Tao was preaching the great Tao of lightning. At the same time, the world-extinguishing lightning that was wreaking havoc in the ancient city seemed to be attracted by a strange force, and it quickly entered the depths of the ancient city. In the void at the center of the ancient city, the huge imperial jade archive was spinning continuously. In the void, large amounts of rainbow-colored lightning streaks were constantly being extracted and quickly gathered in the jade archive. In the jade archive, a great Tao talisman wrapped in lightning radiance burst out with dazzling divine light. It contained pages of lightning Tao cultivation techniques, various lightning Dharma spells, divine abilities, and secret techniques. However, this talisman was also incomplete. Only 1/10 of it was complete. More than half of it was incomplete. Large amounts of world-extinguishing lightning streaked into the jade archive and into the lightning talisman. It could be clearly seen that the talisman was trembling with excitement after obtaining the most powerful lightning in the world. It quickly devoured the lightning and absorbed the laws of lightning within. The talisman was growing at a speed visible to the naked eye, and it was mending itself. In the blink of an eye, it had completed 3/10 of the talisman. It was still being perfected. The rampaging lightning was quickly being devoured. Large amounts of rainbow-colored lightning streaks shot out from the lightning talisman, and they quickly entered the ancient city. They fused with the ancient city. The cracks that had appeared quickly healed, and the divine crystals that formed the ancient city rapidly transformed and strengthened, rapidly transforming into high-grade divine crystals. Boom, boom, boom. Within the million lightning-gathering towers, the originally damaged heavenly thunder platforms rapidly gathered together. Vaguely, there was a strange fusion of the laws of thunder. In the blink of an eye, the heavenly thunder platforms had been upgraded into various mysterious pools of lightning. The pools of lightning continuously absorbed lightning from the void. When the lightning entered the pools of lightning, they all turned into strange lightning water. To be continued. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 802. In the blink of an eye, the million lightning-gathering towers underwent a transformation and were completely connected to the demon city. There was no longer a single gap, and they became a complete entity. The heavenly lightning platform also transformed into a lightning pool. It could automatically absorb the power of countless lightning bolts from the void and nurture a large amount of divine lightning, greatly increasing its power. It directly increased the combat power of the demon city greatly. Rumble. The rainbow tribulation eye in the sky once again sent down tribulation lightning. However, as soon as it landed on the demon city, it was immediately pulled over by the Emperor's Jade Archive and quickly swallowed into the lightning talisman. It constantly absorbed the lightning law within to complete the talisman. At the same time, the million lightning-gathering towers began to display their power at the same time, continuously absorbing all kinds of lightning bolts from the void. Yin lightning, Netherworld yin lightning, Shenming cold lightning, Earthfiend fire lightning, Shentian astral lightning, Nine heavens divine lightning, Five elements divine lightning, and so on. All kinds of lightning bolts were swept into the lightning pool and sent into the lightning talisman in the Emperor's Jade Archive in an instant, constantly transforming into strange laws and merging with it. In an instant, the entire lightning talisman was rapidly mended at a speed visible to the naked eye. With every bit that was mended, the power of the talisman increased. In the blink of an eye, 60% of the talisman was mended. The entire talisman had completely transformed into the source of lightning. It devoured the lightning bolts in large mouthfuls. Haha, good. 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 Looks like this lightning talisman is about to be mended. That's great, lunatic DI, I'll go help the Emperor's Jade Archive. Dark shouted excitedly. The Emperor's Jade Archive was now the source of Demon City's vitality. Every time a talisman was completed, its power would increase, and the speed at which it absorbed the vitality of heaven and earth would greatly increase. Dark turned and entered the void of the ancient city's core, appearing in front of the Emperor's Jade Archive. He quickly spat out a series of lightning cultivation techniques, such as palm lightning, 5 elements lightning, 9 heavens divine lightning, lightning sword art, lightning god transformation, and so on. Many cultivation techniques were spat out from his mouth as easily as eating a meal and entered the Emperor's Jade Archive. They turned into lines of great Tao seal text in the lightning talisman. They became Tian Yin. The lightning talisman's completion speed increased further. How is this possible? This ancient city is actually absorbing the divine lightning. The 7 Knights' demon supremacy, who was originally sneering as he watched myriad demon city undergo the tribulation, now had a change in expression. The scene before his eyes stirred up countless waves in his heart. He was overwhelmed with shock. It is said that in order to become a paragon divine artifact, one must have a natural spiritual treasure as its source of yuan qi. Otherwise, it will not be able to support its huge consumption. Could it be that this ancient city has a natural spiritual treasure as a source of vital energy? Could it be that this ancient city can absorb divine lightning? Could it be that this spiritual treasure is a pool of lightning? The vigilance in his heart increased greatly. He could already see that it would not be difficult for the 1,000-fiend city to survive the lightning punishment. In an instant, the divine thunder of annihilation swept down crazily. However, under the divine thunder of annihilation, the ancient city emitted a dazzling divine light. Every inch of the city was sparkling and translucent like a crystal. On the surface, there were traces of strange Tao inscriptions. It was vivid and lifelike. It seemed to carry the charm of lightning and poison. Haha, it's done. Ming laughed loudly. In the Ultimate Emperor's Jade Archive, the lightning talisman emitted a dazzling divine light. The talisman was completely complete, and countless lightning bolts seemed to be brewing inside. There were pages of strange Tao inscriptions flickering constantly. It was simple and extraordinary. The lightning talisman immediately became the second complete Great Tao talisman in the Ultimate Emperor's Jade Archive. At the same time, an illusory phantom shot out from the talisman. It rushed out of the Jade Archive and landed in a lotus in the void. Immediately, the originally illusory lotus turned into a third-grade green lotus. The green lotus quickly condensed into a substance. Inside, it was as if heaven and earth were splitting apart, quickly evolving into a small world. The world was filled with endless qi of lightning. A second world was born. Quick! Lunatic DI, take advantage of this great opportunity to upgrade and quickly take out the egg of the Chaos Beast. Integrate it into the 1,000-fiend city and let it have the power of chaos. Ming shouted anxiously. Okay. Di Shitian's eyes lit up. He knew that this was a critical moment. Without thinking, he immediately took out the gift he had received previously, the Chaos Egg. With a wave of his hand, he took it out. He quickly sent it into the ancient city. It appeared in the core of the void. As soon as the Chaos Egg appeared, it immediately fell towards the Ultimate Emperor's Jade Archive. The Ultimate Emperor's Jade Archive emitted countless great Tao heavenly tunes. It seemed to be abnormally excited, as if it had a fatal desire for the Chaos Egg. Almost instantly, the Chaos Egg was swept into the Jade Archive. The Jade Archive was completely enveloped by countless Chaos Chi on the spot. Countless Chaos Chi turned into tiny threads and quickly merged with the entire 1,000-fiend city. They entered the divine crystal and interweaved with mysterious Tao inscriptions, emitting a chaotic halo. In the blink of an eye, they appeared densely on the entire ancient city. On the ancient city, there was a chaotic charm. Vaguely, it seemed to be able to communicate with the chaos world. At the same time, countless mysterious chaos Tao inscriptions naturally appeared on the Ultimate Emperor's Jade Archive. In the Jade Archive, in the center of the 1,300 Great Tao Talismans, a chaotic bead appeared. This chaos bead also had strange inscriptions on it. It naturally emitted a chaotic Tao inscriptions with a supreme aura that suppressed all the Great Tao Talismans. It was very strange. After this chaos bead appeared in the Ultimate Emperor's Jade Archive, it could vaguely connect to the chaos world and directly absorb vast amounts of chaos chi from the chaos. Benefits. The benefits were simply boundless. After advancing to the supremacy level, a large amount of chaos chi was absorbed from the void into the Ultimate Emperor's Jade Archive. Then, it entered the chaos bead in the Jade Archive and was refined by the chaos bead into the purest chaos chi, which was integrated into the Thousand Fiend City. Rumble. The Thousand Fiend City shook violently, shooting out millions of feet of divine light. The divine crystals in the entire ancient city instantly rose from mid-grade to high-grade divine crystals. The entire ancient city became a world of its own. After fusing with the Chaos Egg, the Ultimate Emperor's Jade Archive directly absorbed chaos chi from the chaos world, just like the Source Continent and the Demon God Continent. There was no need to be controlled by the world. A huge amount of primal chi was absorbed and spat out. In the ancient city, the carnate primal chi was constantly increasing. Boom. In the void, the tribulation clouds that filled the sky strangely dissipated. The entire Thousand Fiend City naturally exuded a kind of majestic aura and vast supremacy pressure. The Thousand Fiend City had advanced to the supremacy level. It had truly become a supreme divine artifact. Haha, the supremacy level. The supreme divine artifact has finally reached the supremacy level. This is something that even my master couldn't do back then. Crazy DI, you are indeed blessed with great luck. The foundation of the demon clan has finally been completely established. Now, I'm afraid that even the most powerful experts can't really exterminate the demon clan. Ming laughed wildly at the sky. He turned into a ray of bloodlight and returned to the infernal prison. He shouted, "Quick, the Thousand Fiend City has advanced to the supremacy level. Let's directly use the winged birdman to test its power. Smash him to death." Di Shitian stepped into the Thousand Fiend City. His feet were connected to the ancient city. He could clearly feel every trace of transformation that had happened in the ancient city. He could also clearly feel the vast power contained in the ancient city. With a thought, a huge amount of power poured into his body. His entire demon body rapidly expanded. In the blink of an eye, it had expanded to tens of thousands of feet and stood in the ancient city. "Your Majesty, the demon empress is about to give birth." Qing Luan shouted in the jade pool. When this sentence fell into Di Shitian's ears, he only felt his heart beat violently. It was as if his body had been injected with chicken blood. He fiercely glared at the 7 Knights demon sovereign and shouted, "7 Knights, today I will use your blood to welcome and decorate the birth of I's bloodline." Lightning gathering tower, lightning fury. Millions of lightning gathering towers flashed with thousands of lightning bolts. The lightning pool rolled violently, and countless divine lightning bolts were constantly condensed from the lightning pool. "Brother, you can win for sure. Ling Er believes in brother. Brother is the strongest." In the jade pool, a little girl who looked to be 7 or 8 years old, dressed in white, raised her small face and called out in a clear and melodious voice, "Ling Er." Di Shitian's heart flashed with a burst of warmth. Boom. Countless divine lightning bolts shot out of the lightning gathering towers. In the blink of an eye, tens of millions of different types of lightning bolts filled the sky and shot toward the 7 Knights demon sovereign. Earth fiend yin lightning, 9 heavens astral lightning, 5 elements lightning, yin-yang lightning, profound underworld lightning. Vast amounts of divine lightning swept toward the 7 Knights demon sovereign with mountain-toppling, sea-draining force. Good timing. HMPH. Even if you have a paragon god item, You've only just ascended. There's no way you could have a true killing move. The 4 heavenly gates are nothing but fakes. You think you can count as a paragon god item? Watch as I shatter this ancient city of yours. The face of the 7 Knights Demon Reverend was cold and extremely ugly. The eternal demon gate above his head jerked. There seemed to be a great terror within the eternal demon gate as it emitted a formless devouring force that swiftly devoured the divine thunder that covered the sky. When the divine lightning entered the eternal devil gate, it didn't even cause a ripple. It was like the most terrifying abyss. If you can devour the divine lightning, then I'll smash you to death. Let's see if your eternal devil gate can devour I's myriad demon city. Di Shitian raised an eyebrow, exuding a majestic aura. It was true that the myriad demon city couldn't compare to those old paragon god items in terms of battle prowess. However, it wasn't something that could be easily humiliated. Paragon. Paragons were the gods of heaven and earth. Smash. Since the divine lightning couldn't kill you, I'll smash you to death. If you want to be unreasonable, then you have to be unreasonable to the end. If you want to fight, you have to be fierce. You have to be brutal. Rumble. The myriad demon city shrunk to a size of 1,000,000 meters, and with a violent tremor, the void around it was destroyed. The boundless pressure caused the surrounding space to distort continuously. Crack. Terrifying fissures appeared on the ground. Smash. The myriad demon city shone with divine radiance. All of a sudden, it charged ferociously towards the 7 Knights Demon Elder from mid-air. This collision was simply like a savage beast that charged forward with an indomitable and overbearing aura. With this collision, he wanted to create a ferocious aura and show off his might. If you want to know what happened next, please visit www.chidyen.com to read more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 803. Don't think I'm afraid of you. Eternal Devil Gate, Eternal Devil Armaments, slaughter the myriad world. The 7-Knight Demon Lord didn't back off. He had incomparable confidence in the ancient gate above his head. When he saw Sakra driving the 1,000 demon city over, an intense battle intent gushed forth from him. With a roar, the vast amount of fallen devil energy in his body frenziedly channeled into the ancient gate. Whiz! The ancient demonic gate that was emitting an ancient aura suddenly shook. The ancient devil runes on the gate seemed to have a life of their own, and they began to glow with devilish light that intertwined with each other. It formed a mysterious picture. The demonic door that seemed to have existed since ancient times suddenly opened, revealing the endless darkness behind the door. It was a terrifying scene of pitch black. It was so dark that it seemed as if it would devour the entire world. Inside, there was a terrifying aura. It was as if a peerless great demon god was being nurtured in the demon gate. Clang, clang, clang. The endless dark demonic chi within the demonic gate started to churn violently and continuously intertwined with each other. Countless demonic runes rushed into the gate, and immediately, pitch-black demonic weapons were formed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Suddenly, 108 ancient devil armaments burst out of the gate. The devil armaments burst out of the gate. In the blink of an eye, they began to devour the vital energy of heaven and earth in the area. In a flash, they began to grow. Soon, they were 30,000 meters tall. In the blink of an eye, devil sabers, devil swords, devil spears, devil rods, and 108 devil weapons erupted with shocking power as they surged toward the city of demons like floodwaters, intending to shatter it into countless pieces. Each and every one of these devil weapons was powerful enough to crush an ancient almighty to bits. Countless terrifying cracks appeared in the vacuum around the demonic weapon as the sharp aura cut through it. Boom, boom, boom. The devil armaments slashed toward the myriad demon city. Smash. The myriad demon city only had one action: smash. Although I've just become a paragon, and don't have any other means of attack, I can crush anything with this paragon ancient city. Even if heaven and earth were to stand in my way, they would still be pulverized. The myriad demon city exuded the domineering aura of an emperor that couldn't be disobeyed. Those who disobeyed would be completely annihilated. The ancient city collided violently with the 108 demonic soldiers. In an instant, countless saber lights, sword lights, and spear shadows bombarded the ancient city's 4 heavenly gates. The power of each Mo weapon could be said to be the power of a great ancient master. Every strike was capable of shattering a world and shattering stars into dust. However, at the same time, when the 4 gates of heaven were promoted to the supreme level, they also received an unimaginable increase in power. Above the gates of heaven, dazzling divine light shot out. Although the demonic soldiers were ferocious, the divine light kept the demonic soldiers at bay. The gate of heaven shook. In the ancient city, the Emperor's Jade Archive was drawing on the chaos bead at an unimaginable speed and absorbing vast amounts of chaos energy from the chaos world. Following the Tao patterns on the ancient city, it instantly penetrated every inch of the ancient city. Rumble. The ancient city shook violently, and the divine light it emitted instantly burst out hundreds and thousands of times stronger. The entire ancient city was like a giant bull that was completely galloping, emitting a terrifying aura as it crashed over. Immediately, the 108 demonic soldiers were annihilated inch by the dazzling power that erupted from the ancient city. 7 Night Demon Supremacy. Today, I will use your blood to brew a jar of hero wine. When I's child comes of age, it will be the wine of adulthood. Mo Du is scheming against the Origin mainland. How dare you bully me? Di Shitian was wearing an emperor's robe, and the aura he naturally exuded was so oppressive that it shook heaven and earth. He pointed at 7 Night and roared coldly. Below him, not only did the myriad demon city directly smash the 108 demonic soldiers, but it also carried boundless power and directly crushed over. I want to drink your blood. How could the 7 Night demon supremacy be swayed by mere words, but the murderous intent in his heart grew stronger. Instead of retreating, he advanced. The ancient demon gate above his head burst out endless demonic light, emitting an unparalleled demonic aura that suppressed the ancient times. Bang! Crack! The myriad demon city and the ancient demon gate collided head-on. The myriad demon city was a supreme ancient city, and the city's body had been tempered into a complete body after the world-extinguishing thunder punishment. It was so tough that it was indestructible. Its power was so strong that it was qualified to suppress all the worlds in the universe. However, the ancient demon gate was the plan of Mo Du for countless years. Its grade had reached the level of a top-notch sky demon treasure, and its power was so strong that even unparalleled experts would be jealous. The 2 treasures collided. On the spot, the entire void within 100,000 feet of the pillar of heaven's mountains collapsed. Countless towering ancient trees and a large number of ferocious beasts were instantly crushed into powder. The entire mountain range was razed to the ground, and only the pillar of heaven's mountains remained. Large amounts of flesh and blood stained the ground red. Countless voids were constantly being born in the surroundings, and then they collapsed on the spot again. It was a continuous cycle of reincarnation. A huge hole was forcefully created in the land of exile. Under the huge force, they collapsed backward one after another. For a moment, they were evenly matched. Again, Di Shitian's expression was cold. Without hesitation, he controlled the myriad demon city to collide with the ancient demon gate again. It was as if Mount Tai was pressing down. However, the 7 Night demon master was not to be outdone. He brought the ancient demon gate and collided with it head-on. Boom! 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 For a moment, a huge ancient city and a vast demon gate that suppressed ancient times collided with each other in the most primitive way. It was as if stars were colliding with each other, and the power that erupted caused the sun and moon to lose their light. The void was torn apart, and countless terrifying cracks appeared on the ground. In the void, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. It was as if doomsday had arrived. Even in the myriad demon city, countless cultivators couldn't help but open their mouths. They were so shocked that they couldn't even close their mouths. Their eyes were filled with horror and fear. Ha ha, collide, that's how it should be. As a man, you have to be ruthless when you kill. As an emperor, you have to kill decisively when you do. Show off your might. Even though the myriad demon city does not have any other powerful means of attack, don't be afraid. With the supreme divine weapon's toughness, what's there to be afraid of? With the ultimate Emperor Jade Archive as the source of energy, we can continuously absorb the vast amount of energy from the void and turn it into energy to support the ancient city's combat strength. The energy will never be depleted. Ming yelled out, "Hihi, even though the ancient demon gate is strong and is not inferior to the myriad demon city, we have the ultimate Emperor Jade Archive to absorb the vast amount of energy. However, with each collision, the ancient demon gate has to absorb a large amount of energy from the 7 Night Birdmen. He might be able to withstand it once or twice, but let's see how he can withstand the might of the myriad demon city after 10 or 100 times. This was the difference between a supreme divine weapon and a carnate spiritual treasure. A supreme being divine artifact was a divine artifact used in war. It was much more powerful than other treasures of the same level. Boom, boom, boom. Di Shitian did not let his guard down. He controlled the ancient city and unleashed boundless divine radiance again and again, crashing into the ancient demon gate. Just as Ming had said, every time they collided, the 7 Knights Demon Master's demonic body would tremble violently. Although the demon gate had devoured a large amount of destructive power, there was still a large amount of terrifying recoil force that hit his body. With each collision, he had to bear a terrifying amount of pressure. Moreover, the vast amount of energy in his body was being absorbed by the ancient demon gate like a tidal wave. After hundreds of collisions, he felt like his energy was about to be depleted. He couldn't help but be shocked inwardly. This won't do. The supreme divine artifact has the origin of vitality as its source of power. It doesn't need to consume Sakra's power and can continue to erupt with the strongest battle prowess. However, I am relying on my own power to control the ancient demon gate. If this continues, I'm afraid that after a few more collisions, the power in my body will be completely exhausted. At that time, I'm afraid I will be in danger. I can't continue like this. Looks like I have no choice but to use my final trump card. Calming himself down, he shouted, "With the blood of billions of living beings as the sacrifice, we respectfully request the awakening of the sage devil son of heaven and the subjugation of the demon emperor." Boom, boom, boom. The ancient demon gate trembled violently, and a powerful suction force emanated from it. Suddenly, a strange heartbeat could be heard from within the pitch-black demonic energy. The heartbeat was unusually loud, as if the entire world was breathing in and out vital energy. On the ground, the blood of billions of demonic and vicious beasts that had been crushed into flesh and blood stained the ground red. Suddenly, the flesh and blood seemed to be attracted by some mysterious force. They flew up from the ground and transformed into blood-colored dragons that charged into the ancient demon gate. In the blink of an eye, countless waves of blood surrounded the demon gate. The demon gate was like a bottomless pit, constantly devouring the flesh and blood. The world within the demon gate distorted, and a huge figure appeared. The figure was clearly visible, and Di Shitian could see it clearly. That's... His heart was filled with shock. The figure that appeared from the demon gate was enormous, at least tens of thousands of meters tall. However, the strangest thing was that the devil god was in a deep slumber. Furthermore, the sleeping posture was even more peculiar, as if he were a fetus in his mother's womb. His entire body was curled up in a fetal position. His arms were wrapped around his legs. It was as if he was in his mother's womb. The devil god had a pair of pitch-black horns on his head that resembled those of a bull. Densely packed golden scales covered every inch of his skin. There were countless mysterious demonic runes on each scale. There was also a blood-red war flag in front of him. On the war flag, there were demonic weapons flashing continuously. Every time he breathed, a vast amount of demonic energy would enter his body. Countless streams of blood entered the demon gate, transforming into countless crimson flames that burned the sage devil son of heaven. Whoosh! The sage devil son of heaven's demonic eyes that had been closed for an unknown number of years suddenly opened. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 804. This saint demon son of heaven was simply terrifying. As soon as he opened his demonic eyes, a terrifying demonic light shot out from his eyes. The huge sacrifice of flesh and blood turned into a majestic power that poured into his body, awakening him from his slumber. In his eyes, there was the demeanor of a supreme son of heaven among the demon gods. When he glanced around, it was as though the heavens and earth were about to submit to him. He quickly turned around from his curled-up posture and stood up. The densely packed scales on his body interweaved together like a golden dragon robe. As he stood in the demon gate, he exuded a vast pressure that poured down in all directions. Rumble. The will of the heavens and earth in the exiled land seemed to have sensed this terrifying aura. Suddenly, countless pitch-black tribulation clouds flashed wildly in the void. Countless terrifying lightning bolts gathered and shuttled back and forth in the tribulation clouds, emitting a dazzling divine light. The tribulation lightning was gathering to force the terrifying existence that did not belong to the exiled land out of the heavens and earth. The aura emitted by the tribulation clouds was not inferior to the world-extinguishing thunder punishment that Di Shetien had gone through previously. Roar. However, the sage demon son of heaven's eyes were filled with ferocity. When he saw that the heavens and earth were about to attack him, he was furious. He grabbed the blood-red war flag in front of him and waved it at the tribulation clouds in the void. Clang, clang, clang. For a moment, one could clearly see an unparalleled demonic god within the eternal demon gate roaring towards the heavens. A gigantic blood-colored war flag stretched out from the eternal demon gate. With a wave, it darted into the tribulation clouds. Within the war flag, countless horrifying blood-colored demonic weapons darted out from within the war flag. Each demon weapon had terrifying killing power, and they twisted the tribulation clouds crazily. Rumble. In front of the blood-red demon weapons, the terrifying tribulation clouds were cut into pieces and disintegrated. In an instant, they were completely destroyed by the blood-red war flag. Roar. The sage demon son of heaven broke the tribulation clouds and let out an excited roar. However, the blood-red flames on his body dimmed slightly. It seemed that the power that he had obtained through the sacrifice of hundreds of millions of lives had been greatly depleted. Your Majesty, please use your divine ability to destroy the ancient city. The sacred demon son of heaven's demonic eyes were filled with hostility. He seemed to have sensed Chi-Yi's request. His demonic eyes instantly landed on the demon city. At this moment, the demon city was enveloped in boundless and domineering power as it violently rushed over. The saint demon son of heaven was furious. He waved the iron blood battle flag in his hand and slashed it towards the demon city. Countless blood-colored Mo weapons poured out like a flood of blood. It ferociously and domineeringly slammed into the southern heavenly gate. Rumble. The saint devil son of heaven was terrifying to the extreme. The blood-colored devil soldiers that rushed out of the iron blood war flag erupted with a terrifying power. Wherever they went, even the void was instantly cut into pieces. It collided with the southern heavenly gate and actually managed to block the thousand-demon city with its tyrannical power. The boundless sharpness bombarded the southern heavenly gate. The southern heavens gate, which was extremely sturdy, began to crack like a spider web. The entire ancient city was blasted backward. Tiny cracks appeared on the entire ancient city. However, the immortal power of the four heavenly gates instantly burst out and quickly covered the entire ancient city. Immediately, the cracks on the ancient city were rapidly healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, it was restored to its original state. What a terrifying saint demon son of heaven. He actually has the terrifying battle strength of an unparalleled expert. What a loss, what a loss. Lunatic Di, your demon city has only just been promoted to the supremacy level. It doesn't even have a real battle skill. Fighting against this unparalleled expert is a huge loss. If you can obtain the real four heavenly gates, just the heavenly gates alone can kill him. Ming's expression changed drastically. He shouted indignantly, "It's just a power obtained through sacrifice. It doesn't belong to you, so it won't last long. Di Shitian was unperturbed. He immediately saw through the Saint Demon Son of Heaven's state and shouted, "Bloodkill guards, listen to my order. Annihilate divine light, kill the Saint Demon Son of Heaven." Boom, boom, boom. 100,000 bloodkill guards quickly gathered in the ancient city. In the blink of an eye, they appeared in front of the southern heaven gate under the leadership of 18 bloodkill generals. They arranged themselves in a neat formation. There was a blood-red divine eye between their eyebrows. That divine eye was the divine light of annihilation, a divine ability inherited from Di Shitian. The bloodkill guards were born to kill. Under Di Shitian's order, they immediately roared, "Kill, whoosh, whoosh." All of a sudden, each of the bloodkill guards channeled all their killing power into their divine eyes. In their divine eyes, a terrifying force that was filled with the will of destruction gathered. Suddenly, beams of blood-red divine light blasted towards the ancient demon gate. Each of the bloodkill guards had the terrifying fighting strength of an ancient demon sage. When they unleashed all their power at the same time, their strength was terrifying to the extreme. Even an unparalleled expert would be taken aback by such a scene. When 100,000 beams of annihilation divine light gathered together, they could kill any god or Buddha that stood in their way. Bang, bang, bang. The annihilation divine light clashed with the blood-red demon soldiers. Immediately, the demon soldiers only managed to hold on for a moment before they were blasted into smithereens and crumbled apart. They broke through the flood and bombarded the Iron Blood War flag. In an instant, there was a violent turbulence. The surrounding space collapsed. The annihilation divine light dissipated. However, the Iron Blood War flag also returned to the ancient demon gate. Roar. Suddenly, an indignant roar burst out from the demon gate. The blood-red flames on the Saint Demon Son's body dimmed to the point that it looked like they would be extinguished at any time. A pair of angry eyes shot out from the demon gate and fiercely swept across Di Shitian. The blood-red flames on the demon son's body instantly dissipated. The Saint Demon Son's eyes gradually closed. He curled up his body again and hugged his legs with his hands. He looked like a fetus in his mother's womb again. He fell into a deep sleep again. It had only been 10 breaths since the Saint Demon Son woke up and fell into a deep sleep again. However, there was a terrifying danger. Kill. The bloodkill guards carried out Di Shitian's orders loyally. Hundreds of thousands of annihilation divine light shot out from their eyes again. They instantly crossed the boundary of the void and bombarded the ancient demon gate. Rumble. Poof. The demon gate trembled violently and was blasted hundreds of thousands of feet away. A terrifying force landed on the Seven Knights Demon Sovereign's body and his indestructible demon body actually exploded. The demon body exploded into a huge ball of flesh and blood. Damn it. If the Saint Demon Son of the ancient demon gate had not fully awakened, you would not have been able to do anything to me today. I am indignant. However, don't think that you can kill me. Sooner or later, your origin continent will be occupied by our demon god clan. Today's debt will be settled with you in the myriad of worlds. The Seven Knights Demon Master's body exploded into flesh and blood, but he did not die. He quickly rolled up the ancient demon gate and was about to escape in the direction of Demonic City. With the ancient demon gate around, it was too difficult to kill him. You want to leave? Not so easy. Today, I said that I will use your flesh and blood to brew wine. I will definitely do it. Di Shitian's long black hair danced wildly behind his head and exuded a wild aura. He reached out his right hand and grabbed in front of him. Extreme Emperor Creation Palm, stealing the sky and sun, an invisible force entered the ball of flesh and blood. Ah! The Seven Knights Demon Master let out a crazy roar. Di Shitian, come. I want to drink your blood. The ancient demon gate shuddered and swept up the remaining demon gods before vanishing into thin air. In Di Shitian's hand, there was a ball of flesh and blood that was wriggling and rolling. It was hundreds of feet in size. Dang! Bell of Heaven's reincarnation. The seed of Heaven's reincarnation appeared above his head. An ancient scroll appeared on the bell. In the scroll, there was an illusory gourd vine. On the vine, there were 3 small gourds. The blood-red gourd was the demon-slaying gourd. The black gourd was the calamity gourd. The green gourd was the wine god gourd. The wine god gourd flew into the air and released a strong suction force. It sucked the demon god's flesh and blood into the gourd and absorbed a large amount of precious spirit essence. The power of heaven's reincarnation in the ancient bell entered the gourd and distorted time. It really started to brew wine with the 7 Knights Demon Master's flesh and blood. Chase. Boom. How could Sakura give up just like that? He swept up the broken heavenly devil scripture. With the support of the Emperor's Jade Archive, the 1,000-demon city erupted with resplendent divine splendor as the power of annihilation appeared. The ancient city broke through the void with a loud rumble as it ferociously rushed towards the direction of Modu. This time, Di Shitian was really angry. He wanted to smash the demonic capital into smithereens. However, it seemed that he was a step too late. When the 1,000-demon city appeared where the demonic capital was, they realized that the demonic capital had mysteriously disappeared. They had evacuated from this place and were hiding in some secret place in the exiled land. Di Shitian frowned slightly. It seems that the demonic capital had already prepared everything. They had hidden the demonic capital from the start. Demon supervisor guards, listen to my orders. Yes. Immediately send out elite troops to cover every inch of the Earth net in the shortest time possible. We might not be able to find the demonic capital. I will reward those who find it. Yes. This was the responsibility of the Great Rat. The underground network was also called the Earthnet. Huff. Dark let out a long sigh and shouted, Lunatic DI, it seems that the purpose of the demon capital in the land of exile is not simple. I can't believe that the eternal demon gate has given birth to such a terrifying demon god. Moreover, I have never heard of this before. In ancient times, there was no such thing as a saint demon son of heaven. However, I can feel that this saint demon son of heaven has not been completely born yet. He is still in a deep sleep. However, I am guessing that once he wakes up, his combat strength will reach the peak of the world. Extremely terrifying. Could this be the demonic capital's real plan? A trace of worry appeared in his expression. Once the annihilation tide is over, I am afraid that the source continent will once again suffer a terrifying calamity. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chidyen.com, support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 805. The Demon Empress has given birth to twins of a boy and a girl. Everyone rejoices. Haha. Brothers, let's go. The 7 Knights Demon Venerable has the ancient demon gate. If he wants to escape, I can't kill him. However, I stole a third of his essence blood with the sky-stealing sun-swapping technique. Even if he escapes, his cultivation will be damaged. Without a lot of time to recuperate, his cultivation will fall from the peak of the sky demon. Di Shitian said thoughtfully, now that the demon city has ascended to the sovereign level, it seems that I have to find a way to enter the Skygate Forbidden Grounds to find the real 4 sky gates. Also, in terms of restrictions, if I can obtain the legendary top innate spiritual treasure, the Forbidden Red Lotus. Once they merged with the 10,000 Fiend City, the ancient city would possess truly powerful offensive power. Then, he would find materials and think of a way to refine the 365 demon sealing steelies. Then, I can form the heavenly cycle stellar formation. Or even the cloud-gathering banner. The battle just now made him realize that although the demon city had been promoted to the supreme being level and its foundation was extremely solid, it was almost impossible to destroy. However, in terms of fighting methods, it was extremely lacking. The main reason was that its foundation was too shallow. Even the 4 gates of heaven were fake. It was really not a good match. He secretly made up his mind to find a way to enter the Skygate Forbidden Grounds of the 9 Great Forbidden Grounds of the Source Continent as soon as possible. Lunatic DI, these are the demonic techniques I forced out of the Witch of Myriad Wonders and the Dragon Demon Crown Prince. Now, I'll pass them to you. TSK, Some of these demonic techniques are really unique. The demon god continent is indeed stronger than the source continent. Dark side and passed the various demonic techniques into Di Shutien's mind. With Di Shutien's current cultivation, he was naturally able to understand all this information easily. These demonic techniques are indeed amazing and unique. Di Shutien also silently experienced it. There were dozens of demonic arts, such as the Demonis of Myriad Wonders Myriad Sky Demon Dance, Mystic 9 Transformations Art, Demonis Dongxian Technique, Sky Demon Blade, Soul-Stealing Demonic Sound, and so on. As for the demonic Dragon Crown Prince, he became even more powerful. For example, Demonic Dragon Transformation, Demonic Dragon Battle Skills, Demonic Dragon Form, Demonic Dragon Lightning, Demonic Eyes of Annihilation, Demonic Dragon Throne Artifact Refining Technique, Reincarnation Arts, and so on. Among the many demonic arts, they could be said to be the best demonic arts on the demon god continent. However, after reading these demonic arts, Di Shutien's mind trembled. He faintly grasped a wisp of light and said thoughtfully, "Heaven's will, perhaps I really have the confidence to obtain the legendary 4 gates of heaven." Right, Shin-er. Suddenly, Chen Shi's figure appeared in his mind. Thinking that Chen Shi was giving birth at this moment, he couldn't help but feel anxious. His figure flashed, and quickly shrank back to his normal state. "Greetings, Your Majesty." The demonic beasts all around bowed their heads. "Rise. If there's anything, we can talk about it later." Di Shutien didn't even stop to rest as he hurried toward the fairy pool. "Your Majesty." Along the way, the numerous maids and sword servants of the Azure Phoenix all paid their respects. In the fairy pool, a large number of maids were nervously walking in and out, carrying all sorts of things in their hands. Some were carrying hot water, some were carrying towels, some were carrying jade plates. They were so busy that they looked like they were being chased by a fireball. Outside the sleeping quarters, Bai Hu, Zhu Bai Susu, the red-crowned crane queen He Di Ling Di Yu and Qing Xia were all waiting in front of the sleeping quarters, nervously looking inside. "Shutian, brother-in-law. Your Majesty. Big brother." When Di Shutian arrived, the women immediately surrounded him. Especially Little White, who directly pounced from a few meters away into his arms. 2 small hands hugged his neck, like a koala bear, hanging on his neck. She shook her head and buried her head in his arms. Her 2 eyes were faintly glistening. That kind of kinship where blood was thicker than water continued to spread between them. He directly carried Little White and reached out to gently scratch her small nose. He smiled and said, "Little sister, you're finally willing to come out of seclusion. You've already reached the 8th transformation stage and become a big ancient demon. Not bad, these years haven't been wasted." Little White had obtained the obliteration plate elixir and broken through the hidden dangers of the past. She also cultivated the White Tiger's legacy cultivation technique, the White Tiger Holy Spirit technique. Along the way, her cultivation could be said to have progressed by leaps and bounds. Breaking through to the 8th transformation stage was a pretty good result. Ling will definitely work hard to cultivate. Little White also wants to help Big Brother. Little White said in a childish voice, her eyes clear and pure. "Big Brother believes in you." Di Shutian smiled dotingly and nodded. After a pause, he looked into the bedroom and couldn't help but feel a little nervous. He changed the topic and asked, "How's Chen Shi's situation now? Has the child been born?" A kind of anxiety and nervousness that he had never felt before appeared in his heart. Even his heart couldn't help but beat faster and faster, as if there were thousands of little deer bumping around in his chest. Such a situation was definitely an indescribable experience for him, who had already reached the level of an ancient demon and was extremely powerful. It was as if he had returned to the ordinary people of his previous life. He would also feel nervous and anxious. He would be restless and unable to calm down. "Your Majesty, Her Highness is doing well now. There is the best midwife inside and I believe that there will be no problem. Your Majesty, please wait patiently." Bai Susu was as gentle as water. Seeing Di Shutien's anxious expression, she couldn't help but comfort him gently. There was a complicated look in her watery eyes. Quiet. These words were said lightly, but as the husband of a wife and the father of a child that was about to be born, how could he possibly be quiet? He couldn't help but pace back and forth in front of the bedroom. He muttered, "Mother and child are safe, mother and child are safe. Nothing will happen, the birth will go smoothly." His expression and actions completely revealed the indescribable emotions of a husband and father. She swayed back and forth, almost dazzling the eyes of the surrounding maids. However, not a single one of them was dissatisfied. Instead, they were all looking forward to it. Did she give birth? Did she give birth? He muttered to himself as if he were suffering from ADHD. Roar. After an unknown amount of time had passed, a young and tender tiger's roar suddenly came from the sleeping quarters. Di Shitian's body trembled violently. "Congratulations, Your Majesty." A maid rushed out of the bedroom and arrived in front of Di Shitian. With a joyful expression, she bowed and said, "Her Highness has successfully given birth to a boy and a girl, a pair of twins. Her Highness is safe." Whoosh. Without waiting for her to finish, Di Shitian rushed into the bedroom with Whitey in his arms. In the bedroom, on a luxurious bed, Chen Shi's hair was disheveled, but at this moment, she was emitting a strong maternal glow. Her eyes were full of love as she glanced at the two blood lotuses beside her. Di Shitian was slightly shocked. She gave birth to two blood lotuses? No. The moment he entered, the blood lotuses bloomed. The petals of the blood lotuses quickly parted in all directions. In the middle of the lotuses, there was a small golden tiger lying in the left flower. It opened its mouth and let out a young tiger's roar. It had a strong aura. With a flash of golden light, it turned into a human shape in the blink of an eye, like a newborn child. It was a boy. In the middle of the split lotus on the right, there was a seven-colored divine flower. The color of the flower was constantly changing, containing a unique charm of youth. It was an instant divine flower. With a flash of seven-colored light, it turned into a human shape. It was a beautiful girl. Hee. After the two children turned into human shape, they opened their eyes and looked at Chen Shi and Di Shitian spiritedly. They stretched out their hands and giggled, as if they knew that the people in front of them were their parents. "Dad, Mom, hug." The two children called out in a childish voice. They were born with intelligence and could speak. Haha. Di Shitian was completely overwhelmed by joy. He laughed heartily and said, "Good, good, good. My good son, my good daughter. Let Daddy hug you." He walked forward quickly and sat on the edge of the bed. He picked up Chen Shi and let her lean in his arms. Then, he carefully held his son and daughter in his arms. A warmth that he had never experienced before emerged in his heart. He looked at Chen Shi for a while, then looked at the flesh and blood in his arms. Shin-er. He looked at Chen Shi emotionally and said. There were no superfluous words. Everything was said without words. The blissful expression on Chen Shi's face had completely explained everything. And the arrival of these two children, to Di Shitian, was something that no one could imagine. The moment he saw the children, he had completely given up everything from his previous life. He had truly integrated everything, his body and mind, into this world. Because, here, he had his own subordinates, his own wife, his own flesh and blood. He had family and friends. In an instant, there was no barrier. Congratulations, brother. Congratulations, sister-in-law. Hee. Linger can also be called aunt now. What a cute child. Little White blinked its eyes and cried out happily. At the same time, Bai Hu and the others walked in one after another. They all congratulated loudly. Pass down the order, the Demon Empress has given birth to a prince and a princess. Everyone will celebrate. Everyone who belongs to the demon race will be rewarded. Reward the monkey with a gourd of spirit wine. Open the scripture pavilion, you can enter and read for 6 hours. The army will reward the wine and the banquet. 3 days later, the officials will be invited to the Jade Pool. In the Demon City, for 3 days, all transaction prices will be reduced by 30%. Di Shitian issued an edict instantly. Suddenly, in the entire Demon City, hundreds of millions of demon race, all rejoiced. The cheers almost broke the sky. Countless cheerful shouts sounded one after another. The entire demon city was in an uproar. Ha ha, the demon emperor has a descendant, and it's a pair of twins. It's simply a blessing for our demon race. Auspicious, this is auspicious. Our demon race will definitely rise. His Majesty the Demon Emperor has returned, the Demon Empress has given birth to a pair of twins, and even defeated the invading demon god. This is a joyous event that our demon race has never had before. The whole world is celebrating, the whole world is celebrating. The Demon Emperor has a descendant, our demon race is overjoyed. His Majesty the Demon Emperor is immortal and everlasting. For a time, the entire city was jubilant. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen, please go to www.chidian.com, support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 806. Haha, the Demon Empress has finally given birth to a prince and a princess. This is truly a joyous occasion that has never happened since the establishment of the Demon City. However, His Majesty is in his prime right now and has ascended to the ancient heavenly demon level. The Demon City has also been upgraded to a supreme divine artifact. However, there is only the Demon Empress in the Jade Pool. This is too monotonous. We must find a chance to persuade the Heavenly Fragrance Empress to decide on the title of Demon Consort. Who stroked his white beard and chuckled. His face was filled with joy as he nodded and muttered to himself. Light flashed in his eyes from time to time. He was from the Fox clan, so he naturally had to promote Su Tianxiang, the only descendant of the nine-tailed fox bloodline, to the position of Demon Consort. Once she became the Demon Consort, her wish would be fulfilled, and her position in the Fox clan would be extremely stable. Moreover, the females of the Fox clan were all extremely beautiful. They were all maids in the Jade Pool and had considerable weight in the Jade Pool. The Demon Empress has given birth to a child, and the Demon King has a descendant. It seems that we should also go and congratulate them. Brother Di is already in charge of the demon race. The Dream Demon King has already decisively submitted to him and was given the position of military advisor. He is also in charge of the military with Hu. He is already one step ahead of us, so we can't waste our abilities. We should contribute to the rise of the demon race. What do you all think? In the Linglong Treasure Pagoda's 5th level. Rock Demon King Shuewuya, Blood Dragon King, Ancient Demon Tree King, Golden Winged Bat King, Misty Cloud King Baizian, and Sky Swallowing Rat King, the 6 demon kings from Purple Gold Continent, were all silently cultivating in the pagoda. With their talents and the body tree's enlightenment, they'd all broken through to the ancient demon saint level. Shuewuya's cultivation was the highest, at the middle ancient demon saint level. The rest were all in the early stage. At this moment, the rock demon king Shuewuya was looking at the other 5 demon kings, the snow-white feather fan in his hand fluttering naturally. A faint smile was hanging at the corner of his mouth as he spoke while looking at his brothers. I, Old Flood Dragon, am able to cultivate in this Linglong Treasure Pagoda and obtain endless resources from Brother Di, such as a large amount of spirit wine and heavenly yuan dans. I have no choice but to repay this favor. Needless to say, if I don't support Brother Di, who else can I support? I, Blood Flood Dragon King, have already decided to look for Brother Di for a job, to contribute to the rise of my demon race. The Blood WM King narrowed its eyes and smiled evilly. It glanced at the spiked club beside it. They had also witnessed the development of the demon race. What they had not been able to do for thousands of years had been accomplished by Di Shitian. It had to be said that they were convinced. That's right. I, Old Bat, can't just eat and drink here for free. The great era in front of us is destined to be an opportunity for us Demon Clan to rise. I'll do it. The golden-winged Bat King squinted its small eyes and screamed. I have no objections either. The ancient Demon Tree King also nodded its old head and agreed. Good. The Mist King Baizian softly spat out a word. Her hands were still constantly drawing runes and restrictions, constantly adding them to the jade bamboo staff in her hand. Back then in the battle with the Demon King in the southern wilderness, I lost wholeheartedly. I have no objections to following him, the sky-devouring Rat King also said with a chuckle. Hearing this, Shui Wuya nodded with a faint smile and said, "That's good. Since all of you have no objections, then 3 days later, during the Demon King's banquet, we will take the opportunity to congratulate him and express our wishes. I believe Brother Di will not treat us unfairly." 6 Demon Kings. No, it could be said that they were 6 demon saints now. After a round of discussion, they came to a conclusion. Naturally, they did not say anything else and once again closed their eyes to cultivate, waiting for the time to come. At this moment, after accompanying Chen Shi and his 2 children for a day, the demon city, which was suspended in the void of the land of exile, suddenly began to move rapidly, breaking through the void toward the location of the city of exile. Embedded with the void submerged stone, the ancient city shuttled through the void even more easily and freely, traveling thousands of miles in an instant. In the Lingxiao Palace, Di Shitian sat upright on the throne of the Lingxiao Palace. Beside him, Chen Shi was dressed in a palace robe, naturally exuding a motherly temperament, intertwining with Di Shitian's aura. 1 emperor and 1 empress, suppressing the entire palace. In the palace, there were 2 rows on the left and right. Nightmare King Mengshi, Hu, Bai Yu, Kai Hua, Long Yu, Yuan Tian, Ying Kong, Yuan Zhon, Shuesha, Shurashaw, Peacock, Assassin Emperor, Bai Susu, and so on. All the important ministers under Di Shitian were gathered in the palace. Each of them stood solemnly. They looked respectfully at Di Shitian, who was sitting in the palace, with a natural sense of respect and awe. The city of exile, Dan Huang, has repeatedly attacked I. He must be a huge obstacle for the demon clan to take root in the land of exile, and we should eliminate him as soon as possible. Di Shitian was imposing without being angry, and every word he said was like a decree from heaven and earth. He must be killed. Yuan Zhon opened his mouth and shouted with a sinister smile. The demon clan did not have any objections. No one would sympathize with someone who had repeatedly tried to kill the Demon King, let alone be merciful. Now that the demon city had descended, it was the most powerful existence in the land of exile. It was time to vent the anger that the demon clan had suffered for thousands of years. In the city of exile, Danhuang Palace. Dan Huang, who was dressed in a green robe, was fidgeting uneasily. Beside him, the child of many treasures was sitting by the side, laughing and drinking alone. In the palace, an elixir apprentice quickly came to report. Reporting to Dan Huang, "I have detected that the demon city, which is floating in the void, has begun to move. It is moving in the direction of the city of exile." The elixir apprentice reported. There was a slight tremor in his voice. "Got it. You may leave first." After asking the elixir apprentice to leave, Dan Huang's face turned unusually pale. He paced back and forth in the palace anxiously. His face was like a dye shop, alternating between red and white. It was very interesting. He was full of regret and cursed inwardly. "I'm done for this time. How could I have been so obsessed to provoke the Demon King? Now I'm really in trouble." He felt bitter in his heart. Back then, he had thought that Di Shitian was just a small demon who had appeared out of nowhere and was insignificant. When he saw that Di Shitian had an inner world, he was afraid that Di Shitian would affect his monopoly on the elixir market and affect his interests. That was why he had asked the Azura assassin and the assassin emperor to assassinate Di Shitian to eliminate him. Who would have thought that not only did he fail to kill Di Shitian, but even the assassin he had hired was subdued by him? This was good. He had paid more attention to Di Shitian. He had sent out his capable subordinates, sword and saber slaves, and even brought the god-killing crossbow. Who would have thought that they would fail again? On the other hand, Di Shitian was constantly improving at an astonishing speed. This made him fearful. He couldn't help but take advantage of Di Shitian's tribulation to make another move. He had promised benefits one after another to tempt the other ancient giants to make a move. However, he didn't expect that his killer moves would be broken one after another. Some died, and some were suppressed. At that time, Di Shitian was ruthless and overbearing. That decisive action of killing had really scared him out of his wits. The longer one lived, the more one feared death. The alchemy sovereign was one of the best. He had superb alchemy skills, which allowed him to get whatever he wanted in the banished land. He enjoyed supreme authority. Even the most powerful cultivator would have to think twice before doing anything. With a stomp of his foot, the entire banished city would tremble. He had all sorts of wealth to enjoy. Even the most powerful experts might not be able to live a better life than him. In such an environment, he had lost all his fighting spirit. He cherished his life. He cherished his life immensely. This was also why he had turned around decisively when he saw Di Shitian's heaven-defying combat strength. He didn't care about his reputation and ran away. What a joke. If he were to fight with Di Shitian, he would probably be beaten to death in a single move. How could his reputation be more important than his life? He was different. Among the ancient giants, he was considered a rather unique existence. He cherished his life to an unimaginable extent. Since that day, he had been hiding in the banished city. He believed that with the banished city's tenacity and the existence of the demon-piercing crossbow and the god-killing crossbow, he should be able to preserve his life. At most, he would be a coward. If he couldn't provoke them, he could just hide. However, an unforeseen event happened immediately. The demon city was promoted to a supreme artifact and defeated the demon city in one fell swoop, forcing the demon city to hide in a corner. The demon emperor's power was like the sun in the sky. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that with a sneeze, the entire world would tremble. This news completely shattered the last trace of hope in Dan Huang's heart. A supreme artifact. That was a powerful war weapon comparable to the most powerful experts. If it really pressed down, he would be turned into meat paste. Duobao, give me an idea. The demon city is moving at this time, and they're coming for the banished city. Without a doubt, they're coming for me. If you don't think of a way, I'm afraid I'm really going to die. We've been friends for thousands of years. You can't just leave me in the lurch. Dan Huang paced back and forth. Finally, his gaze fell on the Duobao boy as if he was grasping at his last life-saving straw. TSK, TSK. The Duobao boy looked drunk and said with a smile, Old Dan, why can't you figure it out? You've tried to kill the demon emperor time and time again. In fact, you're already in a state where you won't rest until you're dead. Moreover, in the banished city, you can't escape. However, it's not impossible to save your life. What way? Dan Huang's eyes lit up, but he immediately said, Don't tell me you want me to apologize to the demon emperor. That's not enough. The Duobao boy shook his head and said with a smile, Your actions can't be erased by just apologizing. In my opinion, not only do you have to apologize, your only chance is to bow down to the demon emperor. Submit to him. With your exquisite alchemy skills and the wealth you've accumulated over the years, you should be able to save your life. A faint light flashed in his eyes. Will that work? Dan Huang's expression changed again and again as he said with some hesitation. Although I've only seen the demon emperor twice, I can see that he has ambition and ambition. He's not someone who can't tolerate others. The Duobao boy smiled faintly and slowly poured the spirit wine into his mouth. Dan Huang was silent for a while. He seemed to be struggling in his heart. After a long time, he gritted his teeth and said as if he had made up his mind, All right. This time, I'll take a gamble. Whether I live or die, it all depends on this time. However, I want to see the demon emperor's attitude first. I'll write the letter of surrender and see if he's willing to accept it. If he has the tolerance to accept it, then there's nothing wrong with me bowing down. After saying that, he quickly wrote the letter of surrender. He summoned the alchemy apprentice and immediately asked him to bring the letter to the demon city. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 807. The speed at which the demon city traveled through the void was extremely fast. However, It was not in a hurry to reach the land of exile. Instead, it tried its best to slow down and moved continuously in the void. Wherever it went, countless auspicious clouds gathered and the 4 heavenly gates appeared vaguely, emitting a vast majestic aura. All the cultivators who saw it along the way revealed a look of awe from the bottom of their heart. This was an invisible demonstration. It intimidated the entire land of exile. In the solemn Lingxiao treasure hall, a guard entered. "Your Majesty, Danhuang sent an envoy and said that he wants to hand over a letter of surrender. He begs to surrender." The guard quickly reported. "Send him into the main hall." Di Shitian's face was dignified, but a thought flashed through his mind. He spat out a sentence unhurriedly. He sent the elixir apprentice into the main hall. When the elixir apprentice entered the main hall, he saw the civil and military officials standing on both sides of the main hall. Just the majestic aura emitted by the main hall made him break out in cold sweat. Even his breathing became a little irregular and he almost completely suffocated. He was terrified. He hurriedly handed over the letter of surrender. Di Shitian took the letter of surrender from the guard. His eyes were like lightning as he quickly glanced at the letter of surrender. TSK, this Danhuang is really a villain who cherishes his life. He saw through your intentions and did not hesitate to give up a large amount of wealth that he plundered and is willing to bow down to you. He is indeed a wise man who understands the situation. Lunatic Di, do you plan to accept him or not? Ming glanced at it and laughed strangely. He was full of playfulness towards Danhuang. Since he is willing to bow down to me, I dare to accept him. With his exquisite alchemy skills and his cultivation as an ancient giant, it will be of great help to the development of the demon city if I accept him. It's not like I don't have such magnanimity. Di Shitian replied with a faint smile. In this letter of surrender, Danhuang's attitude could be said to be extremely humble. Moreover, he even promised that he was willing to give up more than half of the wealth he had plundered over the years as a form of surrender. In addition to his own cultivation and exquisite alchemy skills, this letter of surrender was not to be underestimated even if it was him. Most importantly, by accepting or not accepting it, he could show his own magnanimity. This was a type of prestige. If even Danhuang, an enemy who had angered him time and time again, could not be bothered about the former enmity. Instead, he valued Danhuang's capabilities and accepted him in large numbers. In terms of magnanimity, it would naturally show the Demon Emperor's magnanimity. He was willing to enlist all the talents in the world. If he didn't accept them, he would inevitably be suspected of being narrow-minded. Perhaps even his own subordinates would be overly respectful. Of course, for Di Shitian, the key was whether it was beneficial or not. If they accepted Danhuang, it would be of no benefit to them, nor would it be beneficial to the development of the demon city. There was no need to hesitate at all. They would directly kill him and imprison him in the heavenly prison, never to be promoted again. That would show that they were decisive in killing. The Demon Emperor's dignity was not to be trifled with. Danhuang has sent a letter of surrender. What do you all think? Although Di Shitian had already made a decision in his heart, he did not immediately issue an edict. Instead, he glanced around the hall and asked the officials in the hall. "Humph, Your Majesty, Yuan Zhon thinks that we can't accept him." Yuan Zhon opened his mouth wide and said angrily, "Danhuang, that old bastard, has schemed against Your Majesty time and time again. He deserves to die. If we don't kill him and imprison his spirit, wouldn't that be letting him off too easily?" His eyes revealed a fierce look. "Yes, he should be killed. Your Majesty's dignity is not to be offended." Bai Yu coldly spat out a sentence. "Your Majesty," who smiled wisely and walked out of the ranks, saying, "This old official thinks that we should accept him. Firstly, it will show Your Majesty's magnanimity. Secondly, it will make Danhuang a great contribution to the demon city and the rise of the demon race. It will be our demon race's benefit. On the other hand, although killing him will be satisfying for a while, it will be detrimental in the long run. Why not let him atone for what he has done? Who is right? Mengshi also asks Your Majesty to reconsider." Nightmare King Mengshi bowed respectfully and smiled faintly. In the hall, There were obviously two sides of different opinions. In Di Shitian's eyes, this scene did not make him feel disgusted. Instead, he felt a sense of relief. What he needed was not a yes man, but capable officials who had their own ideas and dared to express their own opinions. All right, I have understood what you all have said. I have made a decision in my heart. Di Shitian waved his hand and stopped the discussion in the hall. He said in a deep voice, since Dan Huang has the intention to surrender, I am not a narrow-minded person. I will allow him to surrender. However, his previous crimes cannot be completely absolved. He will be punished to refine pills for 100 years in the alchemy pavilion. In the forbidden residence. Without an edict, no one is allowed to move around. Your Majesty is wise. The officials all agreed. Mengshi, who? Yes, Your Majesty. Mengshi and who stepped forward at the same time. Since the return of all monsters to the demon city, the number of people of the demon clan has reached billions, close to 10 billion. However, the management laws are too rough and need to be refined again. We have established the major positions of the demon city so that the affairs of the city can operate normally. The civil and the military are equal. The civil and the military are in charge of internal affairs, and the military are in charge of military affairs. You must let the demon clan flourish at the fastest speed. You all will find helpers to formulate the rules. Write them into memorials and hand them over to I for review. Completely establish the demon clan's imperial court. You all may have difficulties with this. Di Shitian sat upright in the hall, full of vigor. Every word and action of his carried the emperor's authority. This time, the return of all monsters to the demon clan had united almost half of the demon clans in the universe. He deserved to be called the demon emperor. However, in the management of the demon city, he naturally needed to carefully plan out the various positions and manage the affairs of the city. The civil and the military were divided. The civil and the military were in charge of internal affairs, and the military were in charge of external affairs. The major positions were divided into the major departments of the demon clan's imperial court. Let the entire demon clan operate completely. He was the demon emperor. What he needed to do was to control the big ship of the demon clan, lead the demon clan to rise, and ride the wind and waves. When it was time to delegate power, he should delegate power. Now, it was time to delegate power. Otherwise, he would not need to cultivate anymore if he were to interfere in everything. Many unimportant matters could be handed over to his subordinates to do, freeing himself. With the help of the demon clans, he could cultivate and climb to a higher peak. Mengshi and Hu looked at each other at the same time. They saw a trace of joy in each other's eyes. They knew that this would be a crucial step for the demon clan. Yes, Your Majesty. We will participate in the elections of the various imperial courts in the universe and formulate the major rules and positions of the demon city. However, I implore Your Majesty to quickly find the demon clan's supreme treasure, the demon summoning banner. With the power of the demon summoning banner, the demon clan will be established and the demon court will be conferred. Enjoy the supreme merit of heaven and earth and gather the fate of the demon clan. Only in this way can our demon race rise again in the myriad of worlds. Our fate will flourish. Dream Demon King Meng, she said with a solemn expression. The demon summoning banner was a true supreme treasure of the demon race. It was a supreme treasure that had been nurtured from the chaos with the birth of the demon race. To the entire demon race, it was definitely not just a supreme treasure, but a supreme symbol. Demon summoning banner? Di Shitian felt a chill in his heart. His gaze instantly fell on Mengshi. Do you know the whereabouts of the demon summoning banner? He was no stranger to this supreme treasure. It was the #1 supreme treasure of the demon clan. Even the ancient suppressing demon lamp could not compare. Your Majesty, I do not know the whereabouts of the demon summoning banner. However, I know that the rock demon king Shui Wuya definitely knows where it is. Mengshi pondered and said, in ancient times, the demon clan was betrayed by the human race and eventually fell apart. Many of the demon clan's treasures were plundered. Back then, the ancestor of the rock demon king, the golden-winged great rock king, saw that he couldn't stop the demon clan from collapsing. He used all of his vitality and finally snatched the demon clan's treasure, the demon summoning banner, so that it wouldn't fall into the hands of the human race. However, as for its final whereabouts, I guess that only Lord Shwewuya knows. His words revealed a secret history from the ancient times. Rock Demon King? Di Shitian could not help but feel shocked. He did not expect Shwewuya to be hiding such a shocking secret. His background was even more frightening. No wonder he could become the leader of the 8 great demon kings of the Purple Gold mainland. Dan Huang had bowed his head, and there was naturally no need for him to go to the city of exile. In addition, he knew such a huge secret and many things needed to be arranged. The demon city temporarily stayed in the void. Di Shitian entered the world inside the bell of heaven's samsara alone. There was also a large world inside the bell. However, it was not large for the time being. It was only tens of thousands of feet wide. However, due to the essence of life inside, every inch of the void exuded vitality. Vaguely, new green sprouts grew on the ground. He sat cross-legged in the void. Di Shitian's hand flashed and the god of wine gourd that had merged into the ancient bell appeared in his hand. He looked at the small green gourd and patted it lightly. He muttered to himself, "I'm counting on you. Lunatic Di, you want to brew the myriad poisons dragonworm wine." Ming had followed him for many years and naturally saw through his thoughts. "My mother has been poisoned by the dark soul dissolving poison and her divine soul is constantly being corroded. If not for Shin Er's momentary protection and blocking the traces of time, her soul would have been destroyed. As her son, I cannot let my mother continue to be corroded by this poison. Peacock's brother, Kong Wu, also needs the myriad poisons dragonworm wine to save his life." When Di Shitian thought of his white tiger mother, who was still in a deep slumber, his heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. Waves of stabbing pain constantly reverberated in his heart as he recalled the brief and warm moments in the Tiger Hill mountain range. "Mother, now I have the ability to save you." He made a firm determination in his heart. With a wave of his hand, jade boxes quickly appeared around him. When the boxes were opened, one would immediately see that they were filled with all kinds of highly toxic substances. Centipedes, poisonous scorpions, poisonous snakes, centipede grass, 7-step fall, frost flower, red poisonous fruit, carrion grass, heartless flower, sky poison stone, dark yin tree, poisonous coral, and so on. There were tens of thousands of highly toxic substances, poisonous flowers, and poisonous plants. Almost every one of them could make an immortal god pale and fearful. But now, they were all placed in front of him. Wisps of highly toxic qi constantly permeated the air. When these poisons intertwined together, even an ancient powerhouse would be poisoned. 9 poison pills of the 9-headed poisonous dragon emperor. With a wave of his hand, 9 pearl-like poison pills appeared in one of the jade boxes. There were 9 in total, and each of these 9 poison pills represented a supreme poison in the world. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. I support the author, and I support the original readers. Chapter 808. These 9 poison pills represented the 9 most terrifying poisons in the world. They were the poison of time, poison of space, poison of soul, poison of body, poison of 5 elements, poison of ice, poison of thunder, poison of yin wind, and poison of formless. Not to mention living beings, even space and worlds could be poisoned to death by these 9 poisons. If all 9 poisons were used, even a greater 1,000 worlds would be poisoned to death, and the world's origin would be destroyed. It wasn't just scary. It was the king of all poisons in the world. Only this kind of poison that seemed to contain laws could be called a poison among poisons. This was also the reason why no one dared to provoke the 9-headed venomous flood dragon emperor. If one were to be sprayed with a mouthful of poison, even the ancient overlords would tremble in fear. They might even capsize in the gutter and die. On the other hand, these 9 poisons were the most terrifying poisons in the world. If one could use these 9 poison pills to refine spirit wine and suppress the poison, it would be a supreme antidote to all poisons in the world. It could be called a peerless divine wine. Just a sip of this supreme wine would allow one to become impervious to all poisons. I'll use the 9 heavens dew, clear spirit spring water, and emperor glazed pulp to brew the wine. I'll use the resurrection grass to resist the power of all poisons. Poison is death, resurrection is life. When the two are combined, life and death become one. When yin and yang meet, a wisp of supreme vitality is born from death. It can be used to supplement all kinds of poisons and herbs. I'll use it with all kinds of spirit herbs. Then, I'll use the ancient thunder dragon's dragonfly as a guide to brew this supreme wine, the dragonfly wine of myriad poisons. Opening the wine god's gourd, he quickly took out all kinds of divine water used to brew wine and poured them into the marvelous wine pool inside the gourd. Then, he put in 9 poisonous pellets, guarding the 9 positions of the wine pool. He used the resurrection grass to refine the poisonous energy in the pellets and infuse it into the wine pool. He quickly formed a strange wine god's seal in his hand and sent it into the gourd. The power of time in the bell of heaven's samsara spun quickly, automatically reversing time. It was adjusted to a ratio of 1 to 100. Time slowly passed. Every once in a while, a large number of poisonous herbs would be sent into the gourd. Slowly, bit by bit, they fused into the wine pool, turning into streams of wine. At this moment, in the purple gold continent, in a desolate mountain range that had never been touched by the human race, there was an area shrouded in fog. Looking from the outside, one would only see a dense fog covering the sky. If one were to walk in, one would feel dizzy. In just a few breaths, one would be completely disoriented and lose one's sense of direction. In fact, one might even die inside. Under the cover of the fog, a steep mountain peak could be seen. The mountain peak was at least several thousand feet tall, and towering ancient trees grew everywhere. Judging from the age of the trees, they were probably thousands or even tens of thousands of years old. They carried an ancient aura, and even the vicissitudes of time. At the peak of the mountain, there was a dilapidated palace. The signboard of the palace was also dilapidated, but one could still faintly make out 2 words. There seemed to be 3 words on the signboard, but the middle one had been completely destroyed by some kind of terrifying power. One could only faintly make out 2 words, one in front and one behind. One was the word yarrow, and the other was the word gong. They were all written in the ancient demonic language. The palace gates were tightly shut. Rumble. At this moment, the tightly shut palace door slowly opened with a series of stiff sounds. Patter. In the palace, there was a man with an imposing appearance. He was dressed in a long green robe, and his greenish-yellow hair was draped over his shoulders, dancing in the wind. On his shoulder, there was a dark green palace lantern that seemed to have taken root. The dark green lamp emitted rays of light, illuminating the surroundings in a somewhat demonic manner. Between his brows, there was a faint trace of a strong heroic spirit. Master, Tianyu is about to leave. Don't worry, Master. Tianyu will definitely think of a way to help you be reborn. I will not let Master down for saving and nurturing me. The young man walked out of the palace gates, turned around, and respectfully knelt down in front of the palace. There was a strange firmness in his voice as he spoke in a deep voice. Silly child, go. Back in the ancient times, I taught countless disciples. Even I can't keep count. I didn't expect to receive a disciple like you when I'm about to die. Whether I can be reborn or not is not important. Your life is more important than mine. Since the ancient suppression demonic lamp has chosen you, you are the destined successor of the demon clan. You shoulder the great responsibility of the demon clan's legacy. In the palace, a weary and old voice slowly reverberated. Yes, Master. Tianyu will not let you down. I will follow Master's will and shed my last drop of blood for the demon clan's legacy. The young man said in a deep voice. Go. Master can feel that the demon clan has been in decline for thousands of years. At this moment, there has been a huge change. Perhaps, the demon clan has found the opportunity to rise again. Furthermore, although I am unable to divine your big brother's whereabouts, I know that your family members are still alive and have not perished. With the opportunity of your blood being connected, There will be a day when you will meet again. That ancient voice rang out again, the boundless void. After you leave this place, you have to head there as fast as possible. Master has used his supreme innate techniques to predict that something big will happen in the boundless void. Maybe, a new ancient lamp will appear in the boundless void. After you leave, with your current cultivation base as an ancient demon saint, you have to be extremely careful. I will follow Master's orders. The young man respectfully kowtowed 3 times to the palace, got up resolutely, and flew into the sky. A young eagle will eventually have to experience the wind and rain alone. Only by growing up in the wind and rain can one look down on the world. There was a hint of emotion in the old voice, and he murmured with some doubt, "Strange, I clearly feel that my demon clan will face a calamity of destruction after this tide of annihilation, and there is the danger of extermination. Right now, the destiny of the ancient suppression demon lamp should be extremely weak." Why? Why didn't the flame of the ancient suppression demon lamp weaken? In fact, it seemed to be growing stronger with every passing moment. This ancient lamp is the life treasure of the demon race. It's connected to the destiny of the demon race. As the demon clan grows stronger, the flame in the ancient lamp will grow stronger and stronger. This means that the demon clan is growing stronger and stronger. What's going on? Back in the ancient times, many of our brothers from the demon clan had risked everything to sleep in the blood altar. They had anticipated the invasion of the demon god and the arrival of the immeasurable calamity. Our demon clan was in danger of being annihilated, so they had to leave behind their broken bodies to protect our heritage at the critical moment. Logically speaking, the human clan can't sit and watch us rise, and we don't have the opportunity to rise. What's going on? Could it be that the purple moon fairy? The murmuring voice suddenly fell into silence. Boom! The palace gate closed again, and endless fog slowly shrouded the mountain peak. It was dark all around. Reincarnation of the heavens, the passage of time, cleanse the essence, myriad poisons dragonworm. Inside the bell of samsara, the wine god's gourd had already absorbed all the poisonous plants and flowers into the wine pool. Under the power of the wine god's curse, all the poisons were fusing together in a strange way. The wine in the wine pool had already turned into a bewitching purple color. It was like a begonia. All right, the brewing of the myriad poisons dragonworm wine is finally complete. However, we still need to use the bell of heaven's samsara to reverse time and let the spirit wine undergo the precipitation of time, so that the various poisons in it can completely fuse into one. Otherwise, whoever drinks this wine will die. Sakura slowly exhaled a breath of air. The matter of the myriad poisons dragonworm wine is done. Crazy Emperor, what are your plans next? If you continue to stay in the land of exile, I'm afraid that you won't be able to progress as quickly as before in a short period of time. To become an ancient heavenly demon, every step forward requires a lot of foundation and accumulation. Although the land of exile is a land of treasures, compared to the heavens and earth, this is only a temporary foothold. There seemed to be a hint of warning in Dark's words. Don't worry, I won't put the cart before the horse. The land of exile is now under the control of all sides. Although we still haven't found the demonic capital, with the rules here and the connection of my 2 blood altars, we can use this place as a secret realm for the demon city to train and strengthen. Completely take root. Di Shitian looked up at the void, his gaze deep and profound. He said meaningfully, "Purple gold mainland, heavens, I will return again. North Nether Mansion Master, carefree king." In his mind, the scenes of the outside world flashed one after another. His deep eyes seemed to be able to pierce through the void and see the scene outside the land of exile. In the endless void, a large number of cultivators from the heavens rushed in madly. The Tiger Soul Saber, an Earth-rank demonic weapon, attracted the attention of countless cultivators. An Earth-rank demonic weapon might not have such a big impact, but if this demonic weapon was augmented with the traces of the demon city, the boundless treasures of the demon race, the Supreme Emperor Tao ultimate techniques, and so on, that was enough to attract anyone's attention. Around the void illusory island, one could see countless ships, immortal islands, and even ancient cities converging toward them. A large number of cultivators had gathered above, eyeing the void illusory island covetously. Near the void illusory island, a strange ship was hovering in the void. This ship did not look big, only 3,000 feet in size, but its entire body was woven with a kind of purple bamboo. It was a bamboo ship. On this bamboo ship, strange runes appeared on every bamboo. The runes were like musical notes that intertwined together. A cool breeze blew in the surroundings, and the purple bamboo produced a moving melody. It was like the sound of nature, abnormally pleasant to the ears. Not only did the bamboo ship not seem simple, but it also had a unique charm. It exuded a kind of elegance. Melodious zither music drifted in the air from the ship's roof. The beautiful melody weaved a beautiful movement, but there was a faint trace of love in the zither music. TSK, good wine, good music. But little girl, I'm afraid you're using the zither to express your feelings and miss your lover. Little girl of the Chin family, why don't you invite this old man in? Maybe I'll bring you a different surprise. Outside the bamboo ship, two figures appeared out of nowhere. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chidian.com and read more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 809. Ding. The sound of the zither came to a halt. So it's Senior Know-It-All. If you don't mind the simplicity of the bamboo boat, please take a seat in the boat. Kotomi will serve you fine wine and delicacies, and entertain you with all my heart. Inside the purple bamboo boat, the sound of the zither was pleasing to the ears, and the sound of the zither naturally came out from the boat. A maidservant in a light green dress moved gracefully and bowed respectfully to the two figures outside. Miss respectfully invites the two seniors into the boat for a chat. The maid in green respectfully invited them in. Haha, this bamboo boat has its own elegance. Demon Lord, let's go in and have a rest. It's a good opportunity to see the girl of the Chin family. She has an unbreakable relationship with D.I. Brat. He was dressed sloppily and looked like a beggar who knew everything. He didn't care about his appearance. He held a wine gourd in his hand and had a frivolous expression on his face as he poured wine into his mouth again and again. Occasionally, a bright light flashed in Xiao Chen's narrowed eyes. Beside him was the expressionless and cold demon sovereign. That D.I. Brat has some ability. After being banished to the land of exile, he can still create so many storms. It seems that Mrs. Vision is as wise as usual. The demon lord's demonic hair fluttered wildly behind his head. His pair of demonic eyes quietly swept over the tiger soul that was inverted on the sacred mountain on the illusory island. This was D.I. Shitian's weapon. How could he not recognize it? It clearly followed him into the land of exile, but it actually appeared here. The meaning behind it was somewhat thought-provoking. Please. The maid in green said with a smile again. Haha, good. Demon Lord, let's go in together. This old man can already smell the wine and dishes. The know-it-all shouted as he followed them into the bamboo boat. The interior of the ship was extraordinarily spacious. There was a faint scent of sandalwood in the air, causing one's mind to naturally calm down. In the dock, all the furniture was refined from purple bamboo. Bamboo tables, bamboo chairs, bamboo baskets, bamboo racks, they were arranged in an elegant manner, with a natural charm. In the dock, on top of a bamboo table, there were stacks of exquisite dishes and jugs of fragrant wine. A man dressed like a Confucian scholar stood up and looked at Know-It-All. He smiled and saluted. Chin Buchuan greets Senior Know-It-All. Lord Devil Monarch, the two of you are able to come. This amethyst bamboo boat can be said to be very bright. Please take a seat. This middle-aged scholar was Kotomi's third uncle, Chin Buchuan. Kotomi walked out from behind the mural with Lu Chichin in her arms. She respectfully said, Junior Kotomi greets Senior Know-It-All. Hihi, don't be so courteous, don't be so courteous. Being so courteous makes this old man feel uncomfortable all over. The Chin family's girl, TSK, looks more and more refined. Know-It-All chuckled. After a series of conventional greetings, they all sat down. After 3 rounds of wine, Senior Kotomi was dressed in plain clothes with a natural elegance. Her eyes were clear, quietly looking at the know-it-all. She asked with a trace of expectation, "In the myriad world, there is nothing that you don't know, there is nothing that you don't know, there is nothing that can be hidden from your eyes." Kotomi asks, "I don't know where Shitian is now, is he safe?" After saying that, she looked at the know-it-all without blinking. There was a trace of nervousness on her face. "Girl, you are quite concerned about that little lover of yours." The know-it-all teasingly winked at Kotomi, causing a trace of shyness to appear on Kotomi's face. "Although this old man doesn't know the current situation of Di Brat, I can assure you that he will definitely be fine. Moreover, his tiger soul saber appeared here, which means that the scene in front of us was probably set up by that little lover of yours." TSK. The know-it-all glanced at the countless bubbles that were constantly disappearing on the illusory island with great interest. He said, "Since he set up such a situation, how can he not appear? That's why, Qin family's girl, let's just relax here, eat some food, drink some wine, and let you play a few songs. Slowly wait, your wish will come true in the end. Quickly look, there is a good show going on in front of us. Tiger Soul regains light, Emperor of Heaven and Earth. Not bad, not bad, this is really interesting." The know-it-all revealed a mysterious smile and did not regard himself as an outsider. He picked up the wine pot and poured it into the wine cup in front of him. Raw. Looking at the illusory island outside the ship, the tiger soul could be seen crazily devouring the massive amount of vitality around it on the towering and vast divine mountain. Within the green pearl, countless large amounts of blood essence and spirit essence were integrated into the tiger soul saber. With every bit of integration, one could see that the golden divine light emitted by the tiger soul became even more intense. Streaks of sharp saber radiance burst out from the saber and directly cut out terrifying cracks in the void. Under the myriad of divine light, the shadow of a huge tiger emerged from the saber within the tiger soul. This tiger figure was extremely lifelike. As time passed, countless rays of golden divine light gathered. Gradually, the tiger's figure transformed into a golden color, as if it was amber. Moreover, its body became more and more condensed as if it was real. A pair of golden wings grew on its back, and its tiger eyes revealed endless majesty. A dense ruler's aura spread in all directions. The saber soul within the tiger soul had vaguely been completely condensed. Raw. This golden divine tiger occupied the sky above the tiger soul. Its vast body that was thousands of feet long exuded an intimidating aura. It scanned the surroundings and suddenly opened its mouth. An earth-shattering tiger roar instantly came out. In an instant, it was as if millions of tons of explosives had exploded in the entire boundless void. Even countless cultivators outside the illusory island felt as if their heads had been struck by lightning. Their minds were shaken, and they all retreated one after another. Rings of golden sound waves spread in all directions. Wherever it passed, the bubbles that were constantly emerging outside the divine mountain exploded one after another. Countless chaotic destructive forces burst out, stirring up the wind and clouds. It was abnormally terrifying. At the same time, a purple gold book was spat out from its mouth. "Quick, look at the Imperial World Shocking Book. Could that be the Supreme Imperial Path Absolute Art created by the Demon Emperor?" As expected, this Tiger Soul Saber really contains the Demon Emperor's inheritance. The Tiger Soul's light is the Emperor of Heaven and Earth. This saying is indeed true. The saber contains a Supreme Imperial Path Absolute Art. Once you master it, you will definitely be able to obtain a shocking cultivation like the Demon Emperor. The Tiger Soul has already been promoted to middle grade Earth rank. Charge forward. Whoever obtains the Tiger Soul will be able to obtain the boundless wealth of the Demon Clan. Charge. The moment they saw the purple gold book, there was complete silence outside the illusory island. However, in the next moment, countless cultivators' eyes completely lit up. Charge in. Many cultivators were mesmerized by desire. Without thinking, they stepped on the divine light and charged into the illusory island. The illusory island looked no different from an ordinary island. There were all kinds of vivid and lifelike flowers and plants growing on it. The green grass provided shade, and countless beautiful and fantastical bubbles floated in the air. It was like a dreamland. However, when these cultivators charged into the island, swoosh, swoosh. On the originally calm island, a gust of wind suddenly blew, and countless floating bubbles immediately swept toward the cultivators with the gust of wind. Oh no, these are all instant illusory worlds. Each world only lasts for a short period of time. As long as a living being is swept in, the entire small world will immediately be destroyed, and everything inside will be crushed into powder. Break for me. Looking at the bubbles that filled the sky, the cultivators who had been mesmerized by desire shuddered and regained their senses. Their expressions changed drastically. Without thinking, all kinds of Dharma treasures, Dharma spells, and divine abilities bombarded the bubbles. In an instant, a large part of the illusory world was destroyed. With a boom, countless destructive forces exploded. Splash. On the island, a huge wave suddenly surged in a huge river and swept toward all the cultivators. The wave hit and fell back into the river in the blink of an eye. The thousands of cultivators who had entered disappeared without a trace. The island regained its peace again as if nothing had happened. Hiss. The onlookers outside the island couldn't help but gasp. Although those were just rogue cultivators, the strongest among them was an immortal emperor. Yet, they had been swept into the island so easily. In the blink of an eye, no one knew whether they were dead or alive. It was terrifying. What a terrifying void illusory island, muttered Katomi, her heart trembling. Little Chin, the void illusory island isn't terrifying. Know-it-all shook his head and said meaningfully, it's the heart and desire that's terrifying. If it weren't for the desire in the heart, no matter how terrifying the void illusory island is, it wouldn't have killed anyone. Moreover, the true experts have yet to make a move. Otherwise, the void illusory island might not have been able to stop them. Senior, you mean? Katomi said thoughtfully, they're waiting. They're waiting for the myriad demon city to appear. Waiting. Those who were truly powerful were waiting quietly. At this moment, due to the time difference between the origin world and the land of exile. In a short period of time, a considerable amount of time had passed in the land of exile. During this period of time, the myriad demon city could be said to be quite lively. First, the princes and princesses were born. The banquet lasted for 3 days. Then, the Danhuang formally surrendered and offered a large amount of wealth and treasures. Next, the Rock Demon King and the other 5 expressed their willingness to become officials. Next, the Nightmare King, Hu, and the others were busy drafting the constitution and planning to officially establish the Demon Imperial dynasty. They clustered around Di Shitian to proclaim himself emperor and establish the imperial dynasty. The entire myriad demon city exuded a majestic aura of vitality. Jade Pool, Beckoning Moon Palace. In the palace, Di Shitian, Chen Shi, Bai Hu, Little White, the pair of newborn children, Xie Sanyang, Blissful Boy, and the Gourd gathered together. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 8:10. Many pairs of eyes landed on the bed of clouds in the bedroom at the same time. There were all sorts of colorful, sparkling, and translucent immortal jades on the bed of clouds, giving off traces of pure jade splendor. They filled the entire bed of clouds. Surrounded by countless jade stones, there was a lifelike jade statue. This jade statue was so real that even the slightest trace of its expression was so vivid and lifelike. Vaguely, this jade statue seemed to be alive. Traces of jade-colored jade splendor drifted out of the surrounding jades, turning into strands of pure essence that quickly entered the body of the jade statue through its nostrils. The surface of the jade statue glowed with a divine radiance like flowing water. The jade statue was constantly absorbing the pure jade splendor contained in the surrounding jades. Every time it absorbed a trace, the luster of the surrounding jades dimmed a little. Some of the jades that were absorbed by the jade splendor divine essence shattered on the spot. They turned into fine powder. The soliciting moon divine mother. The person lying on the bed of clouds was Chen Shi's birth mother, the soliciting moon divine mother. The 9 revolving jade refining technique she cultivated was very mysterious. She could use jades to cultivate. She could even cultivate the 9 revolving profound jade body. Unfortunately, she was severely injured in the fiendish demon battlefield and had to seal herself to preserve the last bit of life in her body. She could not awaken without a divine jade of the world that had mysterious power. Shitian, mother, she. Chen Shi used one hand to hold onto Sakura tightly as she bit her lower lip tightly. Her eyes were sparkling and translucent. Don't worry. With the spirit channeling jade and the miraculous 9 revolving jade refining technique, mother-in-law will definitely be able to successfully heal her injuries. She will eventually wake up and reunite with us. Di Shitian comforted Chen Shi gently with a strong sense of confidence. For some reason, Chen Shi's originally restless heart seemed to have found a safe haven when he heard this. He immediately calmed down. He nodded and said, "Not only do we have to save my mother, but we also have to save your mother. We have to find second uncle. Only then can our family be reunited. After so many years, I can finally see third sister come back." Dressed in long golden robes, he exuded an iron-blooded, baleful aura. He held a gourd that was stained with the blood of countless demonic gods. At this moment, his expression appeared abnormally gentle, and he exuded a sense of kinship. "Uncle!" Chen Shi called out. "Haha. Back then, I thought that the few of us would probably die in the fiendish demon battlefield of the fiend world. Unexpectedly, there would be a day like this. Demon Emperor, when Sister Yarrow Yu wakes up, if we old fellows need anything, feel free to ask." It seems that the future of the demon race still depends on you young people. The childlike blissful child spoke with a hint of emotion. "That's right. The few of us may not be able to lead troops into battle, but if there's really a strong enemy, third aunt's poison needles can be of help." Xie Sanyang laughed coquettishly. There was a hint of coldness in the depths of her eyes. Ever since they entered the demon city from the demon realm, they had been observing the development of the entire ancient city. There were new changes almost every time. From the demon clan of less than 100 million back then to the billions now, there were close to 10 billion existences. They couldn't help but admire the city from the bottom of their hearts. This was indeed something that they had never done before. In their hearts, they had already begun to make a decision to truly contribute to the demon city. To add a bit of strength to its rise. Di Shitian was naturally happy about their change. However, he was not overly enthusiastic. The most important thing now was to save the Yarrow Yu Saintess. Whoosh! A light flashed in his hand, and a psychic jade box appeared. The jade box was made of psychic jade. It was a rare treasure in the world. He carefully placed the psychic jade box on the forehead of the Yarrow Yu Saintess. Whoosh! As if sensing something, the moment the jade box touched the forehead of the Yarrow Yu Saintess, 2 puffs of jade mist came out of the Yarrow Yu Saintess' nostrils. In an instant, the jade box was enveloped in the mist. A rainbow-colored light burst out like a tide and quickly covered the entire body of the Yarrow Yu Saintess. The rich light strangely seeped into the Yarrow Yu Saintess. Ding! Thousands of rays of light enveloped the Yarrow Yu Saintess. A mysterious force burst forth from the Yarrow Yu Saintess. The sky demon blade that was originally in the chest of the Yarrow Yu Saintess was forced out inch by inch amidst the rich jade light. In a few breaths, it was completely forced out. It turned into a stream of light and fell to the ground with a crisp sound. The original wound healed in an instant. It was as good as new. The countless jade stones that covered the bed of clouds turned into fine powder. The vast jade splendor intertwined, constantly condensing into various strange phenomena. Some of them turned into strange flowers, some of them turned into the shapes of various living creatures. They quickly entered the body through the nostrils. That scene was gorgeous and fantastical. In the blink of an eye, the strange phenomena disappeared and the light dissipated. On the bed of clouds, the jade seal on the surface of Yarrow Yu disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. Mother! When Chen Shi saw it, her expression became emotional. Her eyes sparkled and she cried out softly. She rushed to the bed and knelt down with a plop. You are. Xin Ao. As if she heard the call, Yarrow Yu's eyes that had been closed for an unknown number of years slowly opened. The moment she opened her eyes, Chen Shi's teary face was reflected in her pupils. The mother and daughter instinct allowed her to recognize Chen Shi in an instant. Third sister. Hu Luzi took a few steps forward and called out gently, "Big brother." Yarrow Yu's awakening instantly filled the entire Yarrow Yu palace with laughter. Yarrow Yu was surprised by the relationship between Di Shitian and Chen Shi, but at the same time, she accepted it with joy. Xiao Bai and Zhu Er took the opportunity to act coquettishly, filling the Yarrow Yu palace with joy. In addition to the two newly born babies, the air was filled with a warm charm. After the happy reunion, in the Lingxiao Palace, Di Shitian sat in the main hall. In the hall, the two elders Tian Can and Huang Quan stood respectfully. Looking at their faces, there was a faint light flickering on them. Their auras were unusually hidden, faintly discernible. Congratulations to the two elders for returning to the ancient heavenly demon realm. Looking at the two elders who came out of seclusion, Di Shitian nodded with a smile. He, the two of us were able to recover so quickly because of His Majesty's unstinting supply of spiritual essence, spiritual wine, and medicinal pills. Only then could we recover from our injuries. We will repay His Majesty's kindness with 10,000 deaths. Tian Can and Huang Quan's faces were glowing as they said respectfully, "No need to be so polite." Sakura shook his head and changed the topic. "Celestial Silkworm, you were the most famous weapon refinement grandmaster during the ancient times. Yellow Springs, you were also the most famous formation grandmaster back then. I wonder if the two of you have a way to refine a treasure that can temporarily condense a projection of the 1,000 Demon City and give the projection a certain amount of power so that the cultivators of the all heavens can't see through it. Or it can conceal the divine radiance that the 1,000 Demon City's supreme divine artifact naturally emits at this moment. It can make the ancient city look like it did before it was upgraded." The sudden sentence shocked Tian Can and Huang Quan. They looked at each other and understood the meaning behind Di Shitian's words at the same time. The demon emperor was pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger and was preparing to trick them. "Your Majesty, if we're talking about splitting the projection and making it have combat power so that it looks real so that the experts of the all heavens can't see through it, there is indeed such a treasure. It's called the 1,000 Shadows Mirror," Tian Can said in a deep voice. 1,000 Shadows Mirror? Di Shitian's heart trembled. He asked, "This 1,000 Shadows Mirror should have an extraordinary origin, right?" "That's right. This 1,000 Shadows Mirror is the most precious treasure of the Shadow Clan of the 100 Ancient Clans. It's a top carnate spirit treasure that's extremely strange. It can continuously split into countless projections, and the projections have 70% of the original body's combat power. From the appearance, even the most powerful experts can't tell the difference between the original body and the shadows. However, this is the most precious treasure of the Shadow Clan's patriarch, the 1,000 Shadows Patriarch. It's impossible for us to get it." Huang Quan shook his head and rejected this possibility. Sakura secretly muttered to himself. Although with the current ability of the Demon City, it was a rather simple matter to create a projection. However, the projection that was created was just a facade. It couldn't be hidden from the eyes of the great mediums at all. If it was really released, it would be a laughingstock. However, Huang Quan and I are still confident in hiding the 1,000 Demon City's current divine splendor and natural aura. Tian Can immediately threw out another sentence. "That's right. With our abilities, we only need to refine a sky-shrouding mirror. Not to mention hiding, I guarantee that not even a trace of a sign will be revealed." Huang Quan's face revealed a confident expression. "Good. I'll leave the matter of refining the sky-shrouding mirror to you two. Take I's order and go to the Imperial Treasure Vault to retrieve the required materials. If you need manpower, just mention it. You must refine this mirror for I in the shortest time possible." Di Shitian ordered in a deep voice. "Yes, Your Majesty." Tian Can and Huang Quan retreated. Refining the sky-shrouding mirror was also a helpless matter. The Imperial Jade Archive had just merged with the Thousand Demon City. However, the Jade Archive was only half complete, and it lacked more than half of the great Tao laws. In reality, it could only be half of the source of vitality. It was unable to perfectly restrain the aura of the entire ancient city. At this time, on the surface of the ancient city, there were thousands of divine splendor constantly intertwining, faintly discernible. The power of all kinds of laws was constantly tempering the ancient city. Among them, the ones that were truly restrained were the poison divine splendor and the thunder divine splendor. Because these two were born in the ancient city, all of their power could be restrained. Therefore, they could only wait for the great Tao talismans in the Imperial Jade Archive to be completed one by one. Every time one was completed, the divine splendor on the surface of the ancient city would be restrained. In the end, when the 3,000 great Tao were completed, the entire Thousand Demon City would be able to do as they pleased. It would truly become one with the great Tao laws in the city. At that time, the Thousand Demon City would reach the peak of the supremacy level. TSK, Madman DI, you're playing a trick on me. Who knows how many people will die if you hide the fact that the Thousand Demon City has advanced to the supremacy level. It's fun, too fun. Ming was lying in Huang Quan's holy river in the infernal prison and laughing evilly. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chidian.com and read more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 811. Under the cover of the sky-shrouding mirror, the Demon City, which was originally a supreme-grade artifact, would still be at the pinnacle of the supreme grade in the eyes of the All-Heavens cultivators. In that case, the Demon City would be viewed as a supreme-grade artifact. At the critical moment, it could completely erupt with the power of a supreme-grade artifact. Who knew how many experts would be killed in an instant? At the critical moment, it could instantly turn the situation around and deter the All-Heavens. It could also pretend to be a pig to eat a tiger, temporarily concealing its strength and secretly observing the movements of various forces. It could clearly distinguish who was on the demon race's side and who was its enemy. It could see clearly and understand everything at once. If it was an enemy, it would kill them all. If it was a friend, it would be a firm ally. Only when the Demon City had not displayed its strength at all and stood on the demon race's side would it be a true ally worth befriending. It would be intolerable if it did not seize such an opportunity. However, using the sky-shrouding mirror to conceal the Demon City's ascension to a supreme-grade artifact was indeed suspicious. If you want to deal with the All-Heavens' countless dangers, you have to be more sinister than others. Demon Suppression Alliance, HMPH. I'd like to see who will be the one to kill who. I'm going to screw over the Monster Suppression Alliance. Not only am I going to screw them over, I'm going to cripple them. I'm going to show off my might and intimidate the other worlds. Di Shitian did not think that there was anything wrong with this method. Whether it was a conspiracy or an overt scheme, as long as it could achieve the goal, it was the best method. He looked up at the void, his eyes abnormally deep. The 100 ancient clans have returned. The first to return will be the demon race. Hihi, I love to trick people the most. Dark laughed strangely a few times. Then, he changed his tone and said seriously, however, Lunatic DI, in my opinion, you should find the demon summoning banner as soon as possible. This supreme treasure is the demon race's true treasure. I remember that in ancient times, many experts of the demon race sent their true spirits into the demon summoning banner. As long as the demon summoning banner is not destroyed, the true spirits inside will not dissipate. Find a way to get the demon summoning banner and help the true spirits inside reconstruct their demon bodies. It was vital to strengthen the demon race. It would also allow the Thousand Fiend City to gain a large number of experts. With their experience in ancient times, they would be able to recultivate in the shortest amount of time. The significance is definitely not trivial. The diagram of gods and devils, the 9 ancient lamps, the demon summoning banner, and the blood altar. Summoning the primogenitor. Could it be that the primogenitor refers to the ancient true spirit of the demon clan in the demon summoning banner? Di Shitian suddenly recalled the words on the tombstone he had seen in the southern barbarian. A thought flashed through his mind, and he could not help but guess. However, when he thought about it carefully, he felt that there was a deeper meaning behind it. It shouldn't be that simple. We do need to find the demon summoning banner as soon as possible. Di Shitian nodded to himself. This demonic banner has a special function. Ming narrowed his eyes and said, during the ancient times, the demon clan was at its peak. Moreover, there were many different clans in the demon clan, and those with extraordinary bloodlines far surpassed ordinary beasts. Those with noble bloodlines were known as the royal family of the monster clan, such as the golden-winged roc, the peacock, the three-legged golden crow, the kuan peng, the phoenix, the vermilion bird, and so on. The bloodline in their bodies was considered the royal bloodline of the monster clan. They often gave birth to powerful innate divine abilities. However, in the end, they were not truly unified. They only dealt with the matters of the monster clan through discussions between the various clans. However, later on, many of the monster clan's experts wanted to promote a monster emperor. To truly establish the prosperity of the monster clan and establish a peerless foundation that would last for eternity. At this point, even his voice carried a kind of excitement. However, it immediately turned gloomy. Unfortunately, the invasion of the Fiend Celestial continent completely destroyed the prosperity of the monster clan. The demon summoning banner was specially prepared for the monster emperor. Therefore, lunatic emperor, you must obtain this supreme treasure. There was a great secret hidden in the demon summoning banner. A thought surfaced in Di Shitian's mind. 3 days later, in a pavilion above the lotus pond in the jade pool, a table full of delicious food and wine was placed on the table. Just smelling it made one have the urge to salivate. One could not help but feel the urge to gorge themselves. In the pavilion, Di Shitian and Xue Wuya sat opposite each other. He carefully sized up Xue Wuya in front of him. Xue Wuya's clothes were as white as snow and the feather fan in his hand was elegant. His scholarly temperament made him even more outstanding. Looking at him, Di Shitian could not help but feel as if a lifetime had passed. Thinking back to when they first met in the Five Elements mountain range, the Rock Monster King was the leader of the 8 great monster kings and could be said to be the one who controlled the fate of the Purple Gold continent. At that time, he still felt a kind of pressure in front of the Rock Monster King. Looking at it now, the positions between the two of them had unknowingly swapped. Brother Xue, thinking back to those days, time really flies. After so many years, this is the first time we are sitting together quietly and drinking wine. Di Shitian raised his wine cup and gestured from afar. Brother Di, you are indeed the master of destiny of the demon clan. Xue Wuya drank the spirit wine in front of him elegantly and smiled faintly. All these years, I was fortunate enough to witness your rise from insignificance. You were able to gather billions of demons from all over the world in a short period of time and even built the 1,000 demon city today. To be honest, if it were me, I would never be able to do what you did. I, Xue Wuya, have lived for thousands of years in the Purple Gold continent. Compared to you, it really feels like I have lived in vain. I am not as good as you. As if he did not care at all, he spoke without hesitation. Brother Xue, there is no need to belittle yourself. The reason why the demon clan can survive in the Purple Gold continent is because of the 8 of you back then. I am just taking advantage of the situation. Di Shitian smiled faintly. As they ate, they casually chatted about all the interesting things in the heavens. After 3 rounds of wine, Xue Wuya put down his wine cup with a solemn expression. I believe old Meng has already told you about my origins. The descendant of the golden-winged roc. Di Shitian's heart skipped a beat as he understood the meaning behind his words. That's right. Xue Wuya nodded. My ancestor held a high position in the demon clan back then. After the great tribulation of the demon clan descended, he risked his life to take away the demon summoning banner. He wanted to preserve the last foundation of the demon clan. He did not want it to fall into the hands of the human clan. My ancestor said that only when the demon clan is in danger of being destroyed or when we truly rise can we retrieve the demon summoning banner. Now that the demon clan has risen in your hands, it is time to entrust the secret of the demon summoning banner to you. At this point, he seemed to be relieved of a heavy burden. Slowly, he talked about the matters related to the demon summoning banner one by one. Sakura didn't disturb him at all and listened attentively. When he heard this, he could not help but be enlightened. It turned out that in the ancient times, due to the crisis, his ancestor risked his life to use a forbidden technique that burned his spirit to activate a powerful battle strength. He took the demon summoning banner with him and escaped far away. Furthermore, this escape actually led him directly into the heaven-reaching tower. In the situation back then, if not for the fact that Tongtian Tower was one of the 9 great forbidden zones, it was likely that no one would be able to escape the pursuit of the human race. Only in Tongtian Tower, even the human race was similarly helpless. It had to be said that this decision was a wise one at that time. After entering the heaven-reaching tower, his ancestor burned his spirit and was already at the end of his rope. He knew that he did not have much time left and could die at any time. Therefore, without hesitation, he sacrificed his life to open up a heavenly rock secret mirror in the heaven-reaching tower. He hid the demon summoning banner in the heavenly rock secret mirror. He hid it in the most secretive corner of the heaven-reaching tower. Then, he sent a drop of his essence blood out of the heaven-reaching tower to continue his bloodline and let his descendants guard this great secret of the demon clan for generations to come. He would not allow the slightest bit of it to be leaked until the very last moment. He would only reveal this secret when the time was right. When Sakura heard this secret, his mind couldn't help but tremble. It was as if there were thousands of huge waves rolling non-stop inside his mind. It was actually the heavenly rock secret mirror that was hidden in the heaven-reaching tower. No wonder after so many years, no one knew the whereabouts of the demon summoning banner. Your ancestors' actions were truly magnificent. Di Shitian exhaled deeply and sighed deeply. The human clan experts have never given up on the demon summoning banner. They chased into the heaven-reaching tower to find the whereabouts of the demon summoning banner. However, how could they have predicted my ancestors' remarkable powers? For so many years, they have not even seen the shadow of the heavenly rock secret mirror. A mocking smile flashed across Xue Wuya's face. The 4 great holy lands of the human clan were in the heaven-reaching tower. Could it be that the real reason they placed their sect in the tower was to find the whereabouts of the heavenly rock secret mirror and the demon summoning banner? A thought flashed across Di Shitian's mind. Then, where exactly is the heavenly rock secret mirror? Rest assured, Your Majesty. Without the guidance of my ancestors' bloodline, even an unparalleled expert would not be able to find the heavenly rock secret mirror. Moreover, from the bloodline inheritance, I know that the heavenly rock secret mirror has a guardian. With that guardian's strength, even an unparalleled expert would not be able to take advantage of it. Xue Wuya smiled faintly. As long as we leave the banished land, I will bring you to the heaven-reaching tower to retrieve the demon summoning banner. After a long time, the demon rock king left. Good fellow, the heavenly rock ancestor is indeed an extraordinary demon god. I did not expect him to hide so deeply. If Xue Wuya had not said it himself, even if I searched for a lifetime, I would not be able to find a trace of the demon summoning banner. The heaven-reaching tower, my goodness. Dark secretly clicked his tongue and sighed. The heaven-reaching tower was the world of savage beasts. Just the first level alone had left a deep impression on him. After my mother wakes up, I must hurry to the heaven-reaching tower. After pondering for a while, Di Shitian made up his mind. The demon summoning banner was irreplaceable to the demon clan and him. He had to get it as soon as possible. The savage beasts in the heaven-reaching tower might be a kind of treasure. The bulls that he had plundered back then were almost all tamed now. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 8:12. If the Tianpeng mystic mirror had a guardian, then who was the guardian? As he made up his mind, all kinds of doubts appeared in his mind. However, these thoughts only ran through his mind a few times before he put them to the back of his mind for the time being. Let's talk about this later. There are more important things to do now. With a thought, his body flashed and disappeared from the jade pool without a trace. In the blink of an eye, he looked at the core world in the depths of the ancient city. Under the ultimate Emperor Jade Archive, which was spinning at a constant speed, rapidly absorbing the primordial qi from the void and the chaotic world. Di Shitian appeared silently. Whoosh! With a wave of his right hand, jade boxes with simple patterns appeared in front of him one after another. They spread out, and at a glance, there were no less than 3,000 to 4,000 of them. Crack! Following a soft sound, the jade boxes opened one by one. Immediately, rays of dazzling divine light shot out from the jade boxes. There were tens of thousands of rays of light, and within the divine light, there was a strong aura of the laws. At a closer look, one could see that the jade boxes contained the fragments of the laws that only existed in the banished land. Each and every one of them had the appearance of a hexagonal crystal, but their colors were all different. The aura of the laws that they emitted was also different. In each jade box, there were hundreds of laws fragments. There were 3,000 to 4,000 jade boxes in front of him, and there were 300,000 to 400,000 of them. Each one was like the most dazzling jewel. It was gorgeous. That Dan Huang is really rich. He's a tactful guy. His ability to take advantage of the situation has reached the point of perfection. As soon as he heard that you're constantly collecting laws fragments, TSK, he immediately offered so many of them. There are no less than hundreds of thousands of them, which is dozens of times more than what you've collected before. The amount of wealth he had plundered was truly extraordinary. With these laws fragments, we should be able to produce the 3,000 Great Tao in the Ultimate Emperor Jade Archive. Ming looked at the large number of crystals and was about to drool. It wasn't surprising that the Pill Emperor had such a rich collection. Since ancient times, countless cultivators and demon gods had been exiled in the land of exile. Every day, a large number of cultivators and experts died. After they died, their comprehension of realms, cultivation methods, and even the divine abilities they cultivated would condense into unique fragments of the laws. For thousands of years, there were countless of them. However, most of them were directly swallowed and refined by other cultivators to plunder the comprehension of the laws. The Pill Emperor himself had never gone out of his way to collect them. Otherwise, he would have been able to take out millions or even tens of millions of them, much less hundreds of thousands of them. Today, I'm going to gather the 3,000 Great Tao. With a wave of Di Shitian's hand, the laws fragments in the jade boxes were immediately sucked into the Ultimate Emperor Jade Archive by an invisible force. As soon as the crystals touched the Jade Archive, they melted into it at a speed visible to the naked eye like water touching sand. If there were laws in the original Jade Archive, the laws crystals immediately melted into the talismans of the Great Tao, completing the talismans. If there were Great Taos not in the Jade Archive, they immediately intertwined with the innate inextinguishable spirit light under the mysterious rules of the Jade Archive and gave birth to new talismans of the Great Tao. Sword Tao, Saber Tao, Spear Tao, Weapon Tao, Time, Space, Slaughter, Mystical Yin, Primordial Yang, Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Wind, Ice, Cloud, Mist, Life, Reincarnation, Seal, Destruction, and so on. Mystical talismans of the Great Tao began to rapidly form. Every time a talisman was born, a portion of the innate inextinguishable spirit light in the Jade Archive would naturally meld into the talisman. It was constantly decreasing. Rumble. Every time a talisman of the Great Tao was formed, a strange lotus flower would appear in the air. The vital energy in the Jade Archive was increasing by another type. The land of the exiles was truly marvelous. Since the Primordial Age and even the Primordial Age, countless powerful existences had been exiled here. The cultivation methods that these experts cultivated contained almost all of the 3,000 Great Taos, and the divine abilities that they possessed were even derived from the Great Taos. Now that so many laws crystals were being absorbed, the number of talismans in the Jade Archive was rapidly increasing. 1,500. 1,900. 2,300. As the hundreds of thousands of Law's crystals entered the Jade Archive, it suddenly began to shine with dazzling, rainbow-colored light. The innate inextinguishable spirit light in the Jade Archive vanished. The Tao of killing is to take from what is in excess and make up for what is in deficiency. The heavens use all things to nurture spirits, and all living things have nothing to repay the heavens. There is nothing in heaven and earth that cannot be killed. Kill, kill, kill. Slaughter millions upon millions of living things, and you will obtain the true essence of the Tao of killing. The great Tao of yin and yang lies in creation. Yin and yang give birth to all things, the mother of all things. In the Imperial Jade Archive, countless strange heavenly sounds of the great Tao flowed out like a tide. In the surroundings, fairies ascended to immortality, heavenly flowers fell, and exotic fragrances filled the air. Countless celebratory voices filled every inch of the void. Countless laws of the great Tao wove together to form the mysterious sounds of heaven, and countless mysterious runes appeared on the surface of the Jade Archive. They emanated the aura of the Tao. 3,000 talismans of the great Tao appeared on the Jade Archive. Rumble. The Emperor Realm's Jade Archive rotated, and 3,000 streams of vast vital energy were absorbed into it. Clink, clink. The clear and melodious sound of pearls falling onto a jade plate sounded out from the Jade Archive, and it was actually numerous thumb-sized pearls that were sparkling and translucent like jade. They were snow-white and flawless, and they seemed like precious pearls that were completely formed by nature. Numerous mysterious markings of the Tao appeared on the surface of the Jade Archive, and they emitted a simple and ancient aura. Each talisman was like the most perfect work of art. 3,000 talismans of the great Tao were fully formed, and at the same time as the Jade Archive absorbed vital energy, they condensed the excess vital energy into heavenly essence pills. Underworld, Di Shitian said, "I'll have to trouble you to brand all the techniques in the scripture pavilion into the Emperor Realm's Jade Archive." Although the 3,000 talismans of the great Tao had been formed, only the poison talismans and lightning talismans were complete. The rest were incomplete. He wanted the Emperor Realm's Jade Archive to not only become the source of vital energy for Myriad Demon City, but also a supreme legacy treasure of the Yarrow race. He had to consolidate all the techniques into the Jade Archive. Rumble. A passageway to the scripture pavilion appeared in the air. "Don't worry, lunatic Di. This is a matter of great importance to the Yarrow race's legacy. With me, Underworld, here, I'll make sure it's done properly. I'll brand all the techniques in my mind, and with the techniques in the scripture pavilion, I'm sure many of the talismans will be complete. Just leave it to me," Dark said confidently. Swoosh. Underworld's huge blood dragon body shuttled out of the nether prison and appeared in front of the huge Emperor Realm's Jade Archive. 1,000,000 jailers, come out now. It was now in charge of Nether Prison and had great control over it. As soon as it gave the order, a large number of prison guards in purple armor rushed out of the prison in a single file. They were so densely packed that they looked like ants. After they came out, they immediately obeyed the order and entered the scripture pavilion through the passageway. They began to record the techniques and brand them into the Emperor Realm's Jade Archive. For a time, countless techniques were branded into the Jade Archive. After entering the Jade Archive, they immediately turned into great Tao divine runes and entered every talisman. As the techniques were branded, one could clearly see that some of the great Tao talismans were quickly mended. The heavenly melody of the great Tao suddenly rang out. "Unfortunately, the time talisman is too mysterious. I'm afraid it won't be so easy to complete it." Di Shitian saw that the talisman closest to the chaos bead was only 1/10 of the way. It was a time talisman. Unfortunately, the great Tao of time was the most fundamental great Tao in heaven and earth. It was extremely difficult to perfect it, and techniques that could cultivate the great Tao of time were even rarer. Although one technique after another had entered the Jade Archive, this talisman didn't absorb any of them. If the time talisman is completely completed, then I can drive the Emperor Realm's Jade Archive and use a huge amount of primal chi to completely reverse the time in the entire demon city. Di Shitian thought to himself, Do I have to integrate the exquisite pagoda into the Emperor Realm's Jade Archive and deprive it of the laws to complete the time talisman? However, as soon as this idea appeared, it was immediately thrown to the back of his mind. The exquisite pagoda was Ziyu's supreme treasure. It was obviously inappropriate to integrate it into the Emperor Realm's Jade Archive. I'll think of another way. It's said that one of the 9 great forbidden lands is called the Eternal Forbidden Land. It contains the power of time. Maybe I can absorb enough of the law of time. Complete the talisman. 3 years later, in the land of exile, Sky Silkworm and Huang Quan had refined the 4 heaven-shrouding mirrors. The heaven-shrouding mirrors hung above the 4 heavenly gates. The vast pressure in the demon city was naturally restrained, and the divine radiance was concealed. The entire ancient city's aura was concealed to the point where it was only the same as when it hadn't ascended to supremacy. There was no longer the pressure that made people unable to look directly at it. In the endless void, outside the void illusory island, more and more cultivators from all the heavens gathered outside. Rumble. At this moment, in a distant part of the void, the entire void suddenly distorted violently and collapsed with a loud bang, creating a huge crack in the void. After the crack appeared, it didn't heal at all. Instead, it rapidly spread in all directions at a terrifying speed. Bang! A pitch-black ancient city barged through the crack and emerged from the crack, instantly appearing in the endless void. As soon as the ancient city appeared, evil, murderous, and other auras constantly intertwined. It was as if it was an abyss of evil. Looking at the ancient seal on the ancient city's gate, 3 ancient black words appeared: Sinless City. These 3 words instantly explained the charm emitted by the entire ancient city. As long as one entered this ancient city, no matter what they did, they would be innocent here. Murder is not a crime, robbery is not a crime, adultery is not a crime, there is not a crime here. This was the true meaning of Sinless City. To be continued. If you want to know more, please go to www.chidian.com, support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 8:13. As soon as the Sinless City appeared, its sinful aura repelled the surrounding spatial storms and pushed them into the endless void. The ancient city shook and the surrounding void shattered. There were numerous murals on the city walls. The murals were vivid and lifelike. There were various scenes of slaughter, robbery, gambling, rape, and so on. All kinds of evil scenes were displayed on each of the murals. They were ugly and chaotic. However, there was a strange feeling that made one sink into depravity. As soon as this ancient city appeared, the spatial storms, meteors, black holes, and other calamities that were wreaking havoc in the surroundings seemed to be bound by a terrifying force. They were forcefully suppressed and calmed down. Outside the city, it was calm and peaceful. There was an obvious difference compared to other places where disasters occurred. The vast ancient city that was hundreds of thousands of feet tall stood in the void. Sinless City. Isn't that the Sinless City in the Black Fiend Great World? Why would it appear here? Could it be that an expert from the Black Fiend Great World is preparing to snatch the tiger soul? Sinless City. It is said that no matter what you do outside, even if the entire world lists you as a wanted criminal, as long as you enter the city, you are innocent and no one will attack you. However, it is said that you can do whatever you want inside. It is abnormally chaotic. Burning, killing, robbing, plundering, and rape. There are countless crimes happening almost every moment. It is not ordinary chaos. If you are not careful, it is normal to die inside. I did not expect the Sinless City to be an ancient city that is at the peak of the supreme grade. Legend has it that the Thousand Demon City is only at the peak of the supreme grade. The Black Fiend Patriarch's son was killed and trampled to death by the Demon Emperor. I wonder who is in the Sinless City. Could it be Black Pupil, whose soul was rescued after his physical body was crushed? The Black Fiend Patriarch has issued a demon-slaying order. If the Sinless City comes, the demon-slaying alliance will probably come as well. The two must be allies and have a strong force. Many cultivators discussed when they saw the Sinless City appear. Bang! At that moment, a huge ship that was hundreds of thousands of feet long and had 9 floors tore through the air from the east. The ship was surrounded by golden divine halos and countless runes were flickering on it. The strangest thing was that there were many cold divine dragon lightning towers on the surface of the ship. On the deck, a large number of soldiers in black battle armor stood coldly. It exuded a strict aura. On the ship, a huge dragon flag was hung high. The entire ship exuded a fierce and merciless aura. It was as if anything that stood in its way would be completely destroyed. Ancient Dragon Banner, that's the warship of the ancient Emperor dynasty. And it's a peak unbounded battleship. I heard that there aren't many of them in the Eternal Imperial Dynasty, and each one of them costs a fortune to build. Is that the Heartless Heavenly Battleship, the third Prince's mount? Rumor has it that when Heartless fought with the Demon Emperor in the God-perishing abyss, he was defeated by the Demon Emperor. Of the 8 true dragons that he condensed, 1 was killed and 2 were taken away. The hatred between them was so great that even the sea couldn't wash it away. No wonder he would come. With the appearance of the merciless heavenly ark, the third prince would definitely follow. We've made a big deal out of this. We've really provoked a big shot this time. The appearance of the Eternal Emperor dynasty instantly caused the atmosphere in the void to become tense and solemn. Look, it's the Ling Long Celestial Island. Even the Ling Long Celestial Island has shown up. The Ling Long Celestial Island doesn't care about any fights, and only cares about the transactions of all kinds of supreme treasures. They've made a lot of money in every Ling Long assembly. They've always been aloof, wandering in all the heavens and realms. I didn't expect them to come here. Are they going to change their principle and interfere in the fight for the Tiger Soul? Rumor has it that there's a hidden expert in the Ling Long Celestial Island. An ancient overlord once went to the Ling Long Celestial Island to blackmail them, but he never came out. Look, the Monster Suppression Alliance is here too. That's the Gathering Sage Island. I didn't expect it to be an unbounded battleship island. In the distance, the Ling Long Celestial Island shrouded in countless immortal clouds floated over, causing a commotion. However, the Gathering Sage Island of the Gathering Sage Cultivator appeared soon after. All the forces came one after another. The aura in the air was getting more and more intense, with a terrifying pressure. Some rogue cultivators wisely retreated, as if they knew that the scene in front of them wasn't something they could interfere in. If they didn't know what was good for them, they wouldn't even know how they died. The unbounded battleship islands, ancient cities, and ships suppressed the surrounding void so much that it was about to stop moving. Kotomi saw the scene outside from the ship. She frowned slightly and muttered to herself, I didn't expect so many people to come to fight for the Tiger Soul and target the Demon City. Girl Chin, these are nothing. None of the real big shots have shown up yet. These are just the ones on the surface. I don't know how many of them are hiding in the dark. The commotion caused by your little sweetheart, the trap he set up, and the impact it caused was really not ordinary. Even I don't know what kind of trump card your sweetheart has in his hands that he dared to jump out of the chessboard and set up his own trap. Don't let the trap be set up but can't be controlled, and I have to clean up after him. That'll be a joke. The know-it-all man poured wine into his mouth. Under his frivolous appearance, there was a faint trace of seriousness. Hiding in the dark. Kotomi pondered. Hihi, little girl, let's not rush. Let's watch the show first. Let's watch the show first. The know-it-all man chuckled and winked. Suddenly, he turned to the Demon Lord and said, Demon Lord, oh Demon Lord, you have to take action when it's time. Don't worry. He is the successor chosen by Miss. Even if you don't say anything, I won't stand by and do nothing, the Demon Lord said coldly. On the heartless heavenly ship, Ju Wuching, who was wearing an ice-blue dragon robe with golden edges, had a cold aura between his brows. His black hair was bound by an ice-blue hairband. He wore a pair of gloves that were as thin as silkworms' wings. They were unusually transparent. If one didn't look carefully, one wouldn't even notice that he was wearing gloves. He stood at the bow of the ship and naturally exuded the cold and intimidating aura of an emperor. Beside him, there was a young girl wearing a plain white dress. She was born with a noble temperament, but she also had a crafty expression. She was sitting on the back of a two-headed green tiger. She was looking at the illusory island with great interest. Her gaze landed on the tiger soul demon blade that pierced into the clouds on the sacred mountain. Cousin Wuching, could it be that you brought me out this time just to show me this saber? Chu Yun blinked and said, although this battle blade is domineering, I don't know how to use a blade. As she spoke, she gently patted the green tiger under her and said with a smile, I still prefer green tigers. Look, I helped you obtain the tiger soul and fuse it into your green tiger's body, causing your green tiger's combat strength to be unparalleled. What do you think? Ju Wuching said indifferently. I heard that the black tiger back then became the current demon emperor. Since I can't catch the black tiger, then if I can obtain this tiger soul, it can be considered as fulfilling one of my wishes back then. Thank you, Cousin Wuching. Chu Yun blinked her eyes, and there seemed to be an unusual expression flashed across her eyes. All right, look at how I've obtained it for you. Ju Wuching said with a faint smile and ordered, Heartless heavenly ship, charge into the illusory island for this crown prince. This crown prince is determined to obtain this tiger soul. Yes. Rumble. Immediately, the entire heartless heavenly ship burst out with a resplendent golden divine light. Suddenly, all the divine light condensed together as if it was material. Waves of dragon might spread out in all directions. With a fierce shake, the surrounding void was crushed inch by inch. Looking at the heartless heavenly ship from the outside, the divine light condensed, and countless golden dragon scales appeared on the surface of the heavenly ship. It covered the heavenly ship. In the blink of an eye, a vast golden dragon that was no less than 30,000 feet long appeared in the endless void. This golden dragon was vivid and lifelike, and every dragon scale seemed real. 8 claws appeared under its body. It was an 8-clawed golden dragon. Roar. An earth-shaking dragon roar came from the golden dragon's mouth. The dragon's body swayed, and immediately, the entire golden dragon charged ferociously and domineeringly toward the illusory island. It instantly appeared outside the illusory island and directly drilled in. It was met with a hurricane that swept up countless bubbles that were condensed in the illusory realm and swept toward the golden dragon. Crack. However, the golden dragon opened its mouth and let out a dragon roar that almost tore gold and cracked stone. The golden sound waves instantly swept in countless illusory realms, and after countless vibrations, the illusory realms were all shattered. The dragon below waved its claws, and a huge crack was torn open. Everything along the way was all smashed into powder. It violently and swiftly pounced toward the sacred mountain. Boom. However, how could the illusory island be a simple place of danger? The long river on the island suddenly surged with huge waves that covered the sky and pounced toward the golden dragon. It was strange to say that when the monstrous waves pounced on the golden dragon seemed to have been swallowed by something and strangely disappeared. It was as if it was swallowed by the monstrous waves in an instant. Every inch of space on this void illusory island contains countless spatial rifts and countless worlds. Every drop of water in that river contains a world. Once you are sucked in, it will be difficult to get out. Who knows how many worlds are contained in a single river? Who knows, one might be completely lost in the illusory river. Ju Wuching's move immediately attracted the attention of countless cultivators outside the illusory island. Seeing how fiercely he broke into the island and was strangely swept into the illusory river, there were many guesses. Roar. No matter how many worlds there are, don't even think of trapping this crown prince's Wuching heavenly ship. 8 barren imperial dragon fist, all worlds will be pierced through by this crown prince. Ju Wuching's cold voice suddenly came from the depths of the illusory river. Rumble. A golden dragon claw suddenly blasted out from the bottom of the river. One claw, who knew how many worlds it had pierced through. To be continued. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com to read more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.